I very horror. I think that's why you didn't hear anything. This is your phone. See how the thing clear now.
Clear this one.
See it now. Is this not clear? Àbí òun ilé mọ̀ ó dà ní pé interreligious program kò join mi. Ọba òun ìlérí pastor bí kò rí.
land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green, can't you see? I can see, oh, the harvest is ready, 'cause he told me so. It's green and it's all mine. Standing in the rain, I see the clouds go gray. The thunder roars and the earth sings. Season's just beginning. Sunlight it hides as the clouds make way. For the pouring of my blessings, I will not be afraid. I see it now, I understand, I know. So I embrace it, dance. In the rain, it's for my seed to grow. For every prayer and every seed I've sown. Lord of the harvest moons, I'm reaping back 100-fold. The land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green, can't you see? The harvest is ready, 'cause the Lord of the harvest told me so. It's green for me. It's green for me. Standing alone can be a heavy load, but my vows I won't be breaking. Though my heart is aching, I got a word and I won't let go. It's your will I'm seeking, so I keep on believing. I see it now, I understand, I know. So I embrace it, dance. Once again, it's time for me to grow. For every prayer and every tear I've sown, Lord of the harvest moons, I'm reaping joy 100-fold. The land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green, can't you see? The harvest is ready, 'cause the Lord of the harvest told me so. It's green for me. I thought it was over, thought you were done with me. But we're just beginning, whoa, my life is a journey. I will walk with you, I will go where you want me to, yes, I will go. Come on. You told me that the land is green. Hey, yeah. It's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green, can't you see? The land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green, can't you see? The land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green, can't you see? I can see all the harvest is ready, 'cause he told me so. It's green and it's all mine.
Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and poised. We will take us down and build our land in faith to defend determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom reigns and truth prevails, our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation. Though we are many people, different tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength and wisdom to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come, and for generations to come. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation. See, we only have with the Father. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there someday. Can somebody see me? With the Father, we believe in this our nation, Nigeria, and the promises she holds for us. And someday we will shine like the sun. From the north, south, east, and west, somebody say, if you believe to the same, with the foot alone, but all we have, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, say we are inside. Oh, 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 yeah. Ooh. Yeah. If I told you how I came this far and all the things that I've been through, need I tell you that I've been to hell? I've seen it all and done it all.
Don't be sad, understand. Everybody has a day and the sun stays away. Take heart in a new tomorrow. Live more love between makes for a brighter day. Never need worry, let one love set you free. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive. Somebody tell me, oh, why do we fight it? One love can set us free, we just let it be. Take heart in a brand new day. Good love is all we need to take the clouds away. Never need worry if you just let it be. One love, keep us together.
Begin. Corona, no big passes. We go fight time, we go win. As long as we remember to always do the right thing. Wash your hands, love each other. We go in. Corona, na the virus, we be worry human being. You know get lessy, but we fit be time, we fit stop time. If we maintain good hygiene and practice social distancing, we go in. No shaking hands with your neighbor. Blow them a kiss from afar. Use soap and water to wage war. Let's show this thing who we are. We are special, we're courageous, we are awesome human beings. We do super, we get power, we can conquer anything. If we hear word and obey laws and exercise discipline, wash your hands, love each other, we go we know. If it be like say you know well, like it's something they do you, and you feel say you believe say you get to see they do you, and your body no researchy like it's something they do you. No let panic finish you. You go we know. Self-isolate for the sake of all the people that you love. Don't go around spreading rumors, 'cause fake news won't help anyone. You are special, you're courageous, you're a caged human being. You too much, oh, you get power, you can conquer anything. Only if you hear word and obey laws and exercise discipline. Wash your hands, love one another, we go we know. My brother, my sister, papa, mama, and Pekin. COVID-19, no big pass. as we go, we remember to always do the right thing. Wash your hands, love each other. We go, we know. Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and voice. We will take a stand and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom, rights, and truth prevails. Our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation. Though we are many people, different tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength.
To take money from the church, invest in business, and privatize it. No! It is only in
Have you paid all your taxes?
where you can take money from the church. Money contributed by
Hello?
congregation member. You go and set up a university that the business cannot enter.
As long as you do normal, you know now. Once you do normal, no problem. See you later. Cheers. My brother, tell me, can you be helped?
Sorry, sir.
Can you do normal?
Sir?
Okay, can you Roger? Come in. How can I help you?
Yeah, I just said I should come and see you, sir, because I've already suffered for this contract. I've been trying every time to get this contract. They say everything is ready. It's just your signature that remains. And I've been coming here every time. Please, sir, help me. It's just so I can find something doing and can find something to eat.
Contract. Have you paid all your taxes?
I've paid all the money they say we should pay.
1 second, please. Hello? Chairman. Naso. Transfer that money to the account. Just come and see me next week. Don't worry, you'll get the contract. As long as you do normal. You know now, once you do normal, no problem. See you later. Cheers. My brother, tell me, can you be helped?
Sorry, sir.
Can you do normal?
Sir?
Okay, can you Roger?
I don't understand.
Can you settle? You will give me my percentage. No contract is my table without my own percentage.
But sir, they already said we should not be doing this kind of thing. And like bribery is not good now.
Engineer, come. This man is our roofing contractor. Is it not 50% we collect from all your money? Thank you, go. My friend, this is Nigeria. You better wise up. I'm telling you about how things are going out. They are saying nonsense. Forget that one. There's something like, if you are ready, let me know.
See my body. Oga, see my body. Look at you. You want to use your corruption to kill me. See roof. You have chopped all the money for roof as bribe. See you. This is what they are saying. This is what they are saying. That's how you keep people with all this your bribe. You see now. Kick back. See, if I don't report you,
Bros, come, let's settle
Oga,
this thing.
come. I know your name. Don't beg me. Don't beg me.
Okay, we take 5%.
Simple honesty, integrity, and transparency. You cannot do. Abi, I will show you.
Hello, travel agent. Please help me secure ticket to Dubai. I need to travel urgently. Are you the next person?
Yes, me.
Frank.
From Donga.
I hope you know what to do, Sha. Wait, I'm coming.
Okay, man.
Oh, yeah, let's go, bro.
Bros, let me see you, please.
Hey, what happened?
I've been outside since 7 o'clock. People are just passing me to
Yeah, brother, this is Niger. If you don't know what to do, they will just be passing you.
Yeah.
You know, your country is dry. If you just wet the ground small, you pass on soft ground. I don't have my own. No.
Bros,
Can't interview you today. I can't even find your file. There's so many files on August table.
What's going on? What are you doing? You're getting the whole floor wet.
that's the thing. They say we have to wet the ground. Though.
What's
My
going
brother,
on? You stop this.
please, they will not counter you. Go and buy your own pure water.
In my company, secretary, come here. So this is what you do, huh? You tell people to wet the ground. You are collecting bribes.
Please.
Sorry.
I'm suspending every one of you.
Please, I
I'm trying hard to build this company on honesty, integrity, and transparency. And you people want to ruin that for me, Abi? Go and get your bag and leave the office right now.
I don't say girl before.
What?
I can replace her.
My friend, get out of here.
Come in. How can I help you?
Yeah, I just have to come and see you, sir, because I've already suffered for this contract. I've been trying every time to get this contract. They say everything is ready. It's just your signature that remains. And I've been coming here every time. Please, sir, help me. It's just so I can find something doing and can find something to eat.
Contract. Have you paid all your taxes?
I pay all the money they say we should pay.
1 second, please. Hello? Chairman, Naso. Transfer that money to the account. Just come and see me next week. Don't worry, you'll get the contract. As long as you do normal. You know now, once you do normal, no problem. See you later. Cheers. My brother, tell me, can you be helped?
Sorry, sir.
Can you do normal?
Sir?
Okay, can you Roger?
I don't understand.
Can you settle? You will give me my percentage. No contract is my table without my own percentage.
But sir, they already said we should not be doing this kind of thing. And it's bribery is not good now.
Engineer, come. This man is our roofing contractor. Is it not 50% we collect from all your money? Thank you, go. My friend, this is Nigeria. You better wise up. I'm telling you about how things are going. They are saying nonsense. Forget that one. There's something like, if you are ready, let me know.
See my body. Oga, see my body. Look at you. You want to use your corruption to kill me. See roof. You have chopped all the money for roof as bribe. See you. This is what they are saying. This is what they are saying. That's how you keep people with all this your bribe. You see now? Kick back. See, if I don't report you,
Bros, come, let's settle
Oga,
this thing.
come. I know your name. Don't beg me. Don't beg me.
Okay, we take 5%.
Simple honesty, integrity, and transparency. You cannot do. Abi, I will show you.
Hello, travel agent. Please help me secure ticket to Dubai. I need to travel urgently. Are you the next person?
Yes, it's me.
Frank.
From Donga.
I hope you know what to do, Sha. Wait, I'm coming.
Okay, ma.
Oh, yeah, let's go, bro.
Bros, let me see you, please.
Hey, what happened?
I've been outside since 7 o'clock. People are just passing me to
Yeah,
enter.
brother, this is Niger. If you don't know what to do, they will just be passing you.
Eh.
You know, your country is dry. If you just wet the ground small, you pass on soft ground. I don't have my own.
Bros,
Can't interview you today. I can't even find your file. There's so many files on August table.
What's going on? What are you doing? You're getting the whole floor wet.
that's the thing. They say we have to wet the ground. Though.
What's
My
going on?
brother,
You stop this.
please, they will not counter you. Go and buy your own pure water.
In my company, secretary, come here. So this is what you do, huh? You tell people to wet the ground. You are collecting bribes.
Please.
Sorry.
I'm suspending every one of you.
Please, I don't
I'm trying hard to build this company on honesty, integrity, and transparency. And you people want to ruin that for me, Abi? Go and get your bag and leave the office
sir.
right now.
I've done this girl before.
What?
I can replace her.
My friend, get out of here.
Why do they throw dirty outside like that? Concern you. Don't be throwing something outside. Why are you throwing things inside the gutter? Maybe you will say they should give you basket and they will put it inside the room. Your window. I've been at your room. I've been at your government. What do you want to do now? At least it's some people that will sweep this thing now. Maybe it's somebody that is sweeping the road. How that won't take concern me? Leave dirty for Loma now. If you throw that one now, I throw my own. Who will clean it? You see, it will block road. It cause flood. Flood will carry. I beg, leave matter for my tires. Driver, make we go. I just sitting how like fan that they want to go and sell. Now that one you can't do monitor for inside motor. Driver, make we go. This man they disturb me.
3 passenger.
I will pay. Don't worry. This man, let's go.
You will pay for the remaining passenger.
I will pay. I will pay. Let's go. Don't worry. Let's go. Let's go.
The moment that didn't even done. Is this on moment that did not done? Is that on my money?
I pay your money.
Wow, one person. I pay your money. No, my own.
Please, I can't find my money.
From where? Auntie Rose, it's you. Well done. What happened to our lights?
Let's help us fix our lights.
There's lights now.
Okay, I beg, let me walk now.
Why? Don't spoil this thing now.
I know this small picking for this job. Oh. Help me, Olam. Help me, Olam now. I get license, I get ID card, I get everything. No be today I start now.
Please let me see that
Why
card,
you
your
disturb
ID
him?
card.
Let him do his
Take
work
it.
now. I told him to help us bypass the meter. The bill NEPA is giving us is too much. Are we the only one?
But Sebi, you are the person that said all of us have to do honesty, integrity, and transparency.
Don't worry.
They will carry you. I'm not there.
I said don't worry now. What's that?
I better bring my tools.
God, come now. You have to after collecting 5,000.
Now from pole. There's no light. You cannot go. Close gates. Close gates. He has gone.
We'll report him to police. If we have his card.
Okay, his card. You forget
What's
his
his name
card.
and his address?
Engineer Collabo.
How?
Area 4, house 19. Banana Island.
Hey.
They have scammed you.
Come in. How can I help you?
I just have to come and see you, sir, because I've already suffered for this contract. I've been trying every time to get this contract. They say everything is ready. It's just your signature that remains. And I've been coming here every time. Please, sir, help me. It's just so I can find something to do and can find something to eat.
Contract. Have you paid all your taxes?
I pay all the money they say we should pay.
1 second, please. Hello? Chairman. Naso. Transfer that money to the account. Just come and see me next week. Don't worry, you'll get the contract. As long as you do normal. You know now, once you do normal, no problem. See you later. Cheers. My brother, tell me, can you be helped?
Sorry, sir.
Can you do normal?
Sir?
Okay, can you Roger?
I don't understand.
Can you settle? You will give me my percentage. No contract is my table without my own percentage.
But sir, they already said we should not be doing this kind of thing. Like bribery is not good now.
Engineer, come.
Oh, God.
This man is our roofing contractor. Is it not 50% we collect from all your money? Thank you, go. My friend, this is Nigeria. You better wise up. I'm telling you about how things are going. They are saying nonsense. Forget that one. There's nothing like it. If you are ready, let me know.
See my body. Oga, see my body. Look at you. You want to use your corruption to kill me. See roof. You have chopped all the money for roof as bribe. See you. This is what they are saying. This is what they are saying. That's how you keep people with all this your bribe. You see now. Kickback. See, if I don't report you,
Bros, come, let's settle this thing.
Come, I know your name. Don't beg me. Don't beg me.
Okay, we take 5%.
Simple honesty, integrity, and transparency you cannot do. Abi, I will show you.
Hello, travel agent. Please help me secure ticket to Dubai. I need to travel urgently.
Why don't they throw dirty for outside like that now? Consign. You don't be throwing something outside now. Why are you throwing dirty inside the gutter? Maybe you will say they should give you basket and then we put it inside now. Now your window. Now your road. I mean, are you the government? What do you want to do now? As I call it, they throw something outside. Wait, at least it's some people that will sweep this thing now. Maybe it's somebody that is sweeping the road. How that one take concern me? Leave dirty for Loma now. If you throw that one now, I throw my own. Who will clean it? You see, it will block road. It cause flood. Flood will carry people. I beg, leave matter for my tires. Driver, make we go Jare. Like just sitting how like fan that they want to go and sell. Now that one you can't do monitor for inside motor. Driver, make we go. This man they disturb me.
3 passenger.
I will pay. Don't worry. This man, let's go.
You will pay for the remaining passenger.
I will pay. Let's go. Don't worry. Let's go. Let's go.
The moment that didn't even done. Is this on moment that did not done? Is that on my money?
I pay your money.
Wow, one person. I pay your money.
My money.
No, my own.
Please, I can't find my money.
Wait a minute. Where am I going? Not try that one with you.
Well done, bros.
How far? Well done.
You come for the same interview too.
Yes.
What's your own tally number? They gave me 54.
55.
55.
Yes.
We follow each other.
54, 55. But the queue long, go.
It's true. The queue long because there are plenty of people outside.
Guy, owe like 5K there.
5,000 naira.
Yes.
Ah, are they collecting money?
No, see, get 5,000 naira here. If you bring your 5,000 naira, if we give her, she will favor our file.
Who is she?
The receptionist now.
You want to bribe reception?
No, it's not bribe.
What now?
It's just to elevate our file, to favor our file.
But when you see all the signboard they put all over this place, you see we stand for honesty, we stand for integrity.
Leave that thing. This is Nigeria.
Your file is a civil servant, Abi. That they will promote it. Okay? This kind of I'm not doing this kind of thing.
You never ready? CZ or Delshi. You go take for this place. Stay there. Good afternoon.
Yes, please.
Just a little talking for you.
Sorry, what's this for?
I'm in the queue and I'm number 55. Just for you to figure my file.
Oh, I see. You can put the money on the table. Write your name and write your file number. The conference room is ready for your interview, ma. Please get me my bag. All right, ma.
Auntie, sorry, come. Let me see you.
Yes? What's the
Please.
problem?
Who is that woman? Is she not the receptionist?
That's our Oga. That's the director of this NGO.
Hey! Nice to meet you. It has been nice knowing you, sir. Hey, RIP to your career. You go and bribe director that want to interview us. You see your life.
Doris,
Auntie, thank you.
please, can you give this money to the other man?
Ma?
No, not you, the other one.
No, it's not you, it's me. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very
You're
much.
the kind of person who like to work with
Thank
us.
you, man. Bros, I beg, please, on your way out, you can help me buy a cold drink, then snack. If you see pop-off, or you
Upright for Nigeria. Upright for Nigeria. I can't hear you. Upright for Nigeria. No, no, no. We've come a long way. Upright for Nigeria. All right, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the official closeout and dissemination of the Scrapsy project. It's been a long time coming, and we're so excited that this is happening today. My name is Lola Yonda, Communications Coordinator for ActionAid Nigeria, and my job today is very short. I'm here to officially introduce the MC for today. Before now, you were watching a skit, a comedy skit by Frank Donga. How many of us here know Frank Donga? Okay, so Frank Donga is here with us today and is the official MC for today's event. So at this point, I would like to welcome Frank. Thank you so much for coming all the way from the United States of Lagos.
Where the entrance now? This side or
Yes, anyone.
Anyone?
Yes.
Mini, mini. Let me go this one. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to this very important occasion. Thank you for sparing time to attend. We appreciate you. If you do not mind, please put your hands together for yourselves. Oh boy, grammar knows you. I don't package that one come. Say, once I come like this, introduction, proper grammar. We're here to have a very eventful day and a rewarding time. Thank you to every single person here today. You're very much appreciated. Very quickly, I would like to, on behalf of the organizers, I said organizers, you get why. We'll break that down as we go further into the program. I'd like to recognize the presence of all of us that are here today, but just briefly point out a few people who have played important roles all along. Now, like I said, we are all very important. We appreciate you for coming, but it's my pleasure to recognize and welcome Mr. Andrew Close from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. Thank you very much for coming. I'd like to welcome Mr. Chris Okeke from the same organization. You're welcome very much. Please put your hands together to appreciate them. Mr. Oliver Stoppel from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Thank you very much for coming. Is he around? Okay. Also, Dr. Abari, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency. Thank you very much for coming. Is he around? Okay. Probably they're registering outside. They'll join us very soon. Also, Mr. Abdul Hassan from Plan International. Plan International, thank you very much for coming. Also, Mr. Danladi Plang from the British Council. We appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Ene Obi, Country Director. Sorry, I beg your pardon. But, you know, Mrs. Ene Obi, Country Director, ActionAid Nigeria. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Mr. Dayat Hassan, the Director from Center for Democracy and Development, CDD West Africa. Thank you very much. And Mrs. Babak Funke Fagbemi from the Center for Communication from the CCSI, Nigeria. Thank you very much. A lot of those people are probably outside registering, and some of them will join us as the program proceeds. I might have to reintroduce them so you are familiar with them in the course of the program. But very quickly, we're going to proceed to, you know what most national programs of this nature start with. If you look into your program, the next thing on the agenda is the goodwill message. But we are going to start with the national anthem.
and I believe I have the permission of my host. I'm your host. Anything you need, any information, please feel free to call my attention to it, and it will be duly attended to. At this point, I sincerely feel like handing the microphone over to a random guest in the house to lead us in the national anthem. But before I proceed on that very elaborate activity, is there anybody who would love to lead us in just the first stanza of the national anthem? Before I carry the microphone and kindly walk to you and ask you to do the honors. Oh boy. Hey. See how people just they look left and right, so you cannot go call me a national anthem. Ma, you want to? Thank you very much, Ma. Please put your hands together for her. Shall we all rise for the Nigerian national anthem, please? Don't worry, we'll take it all together. Sound department, you have the soundtrack? Okay, whether we put our hands on our chest or beside us. Shall we? Okay, with or without the soundtrack, we all know the national anthem, right? We all know the national anthem, right? In 3, 2, 1. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Are we ready for the second stanza? Don't worry, please put your hands together for yourself and have your wonderful seats. Hey, I remember back in those days, if anybody called you randomly and gave you the microphone in a public gathering to recite the second stanza of the national anthem, like we generally say, say wala for uno no national anthem. But I'm glad to know we all know the national anthem. Once again, thank you very much for setting time out to be part of this wonderful event. The closeout and dissemination meeting on Upright for Nigeria. What is Upright for Nigeria? Why are we here today? What does this mean for the country, for the leadership and the citizens of this great country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Well, I'm not the one that's going to break that all down. I'm going to invite a very special person to do the honors. But before then, there's a little piece of information from the venue, the Rockview Hotel, on security and safety. Permit me to spend a few seconds to run through this information as you pay attention closely. It reads thus: Dear guests, welcome to this event. The hotel management wishes to advise all participants to take the following security and safety precautions geared towards having a hitch-free event. Security. In order to curb the nefarious activities of some syndicates that mingle into important functions like this, pretending to be participants, all participants should be properly accredited and accreditation card conspicuously displayed. Try to recognize those around you. Take good care of your valuables, especially your bags, laptop, computers, GSM handsets, etc. They are some of the items targeted by these criminals, especially during tea break, lunch or dinner period, and also when you leave your seat or the hall. The hotel will not be held liable to any loss of the above items. Liable for any loss of the above items. Safety. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 is real, and therefore the management urges every participant to key into the lay-down safety protocols put in place by the federal government to curtail the spread of the pandemic. We wish you a successful deliberation. Thank you, management. And thank you to the management of Rockview Hotel for that important tip. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome for the welcoming address, the very first one we're going to have this day. And it's my pleasure to invite to the podium Mrs. Ene Obi, the country director for Action Aid Nigeria. Please put your hands together for her. I believe you can do a little bit better than that. Show her some love. Action Aid has been very, very instrumental in this event. You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. The representatives of the government here present, members of the diplomatic corps, development partners and civil society representatives, our distinguished partners in the implementation of the project, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols observed. On behalf of Action Aid Nigeria Board, staff and management, the consortium partners, and all the partners of SCRAP-C project, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the closeout event of strengthening citizens' resilience against the prevalence of corruption, which has the project which has strategically been tied to the commemoration of the International Anti-Corruption Day 2020, themed Recover with Integrity to Build Forward Better. It's not a coincidence. It's a good thing that we're having this closeout. Maybe there's something good, very, very good that is coming. I believe so. That corruption, no doubt, is a complex social, political, and economic phenomenon that negatively affects humanity. Corruption undermines democratic institutions. It slows economic development and prosperity and contributes to governmental instability. Corruption attacks the foundation of democratic institutions by distorting electoral processes, perverting the rule of law, and creating bureaucratic quagmire whose only reason for existing is the solicitation of bribes. Economic development is stunted because foreign direct investment is discouraged. I'm sure some of you may remember, those who wanted to partner with the Nigerian Airways. After Nigerian Airways, it was ARIC. I remember, the investors coming into the country because of bribery, because of corruption. They packed their things and left. There's so many things. Why we don't have light today? Two firms came to Nigeria. And one of them, I can particularly say that they were very sure that, the Kainji Dam can supply Nigeria light for 24/7 and a few other countries around. But because of corruption, we are still using the generator. And so it discourages foreign investment and small businesses. As you know, our economy is a generator economy because most of the industries that have survived, I don't know how they manage. It shows the resilience of Nigerians. How, many industries are surviving today. I don't know how. What that means is that if we get it right, the cost of production will become very, very low and things will be better for Nigeria. And so small businesses within the country often find it impossible to overcome the startup costs required because of corruption. It strikes, and I want to remind you, maybe when MTN, when the mobile industry was coming in, we had a whole horde of obstacles. Even when our neighboring countries had mobile phones already, it was almost difficult to come to Nigeria. And at the end of the day, the cost of all what the businesses paid, they transferred it to the citizens. Many of us bought lines that time, 19,500 or 20,000 for one line, when other countries, they never felt that. And so normally the cost of corruption is transferred, to the citizens. And so it strikes hardest at the poor. It hinders inclusive economic growth and deprives essential services of the needed resources Then from cradle to grave, millions are touched by corruption shadows, which means millions of people have gone to their graves because of corruption. As Scrap C closes, which I don't like to talk about, because this is a project that is indeed very timely. And I really appreciate FCDO. Because when I came into the country, I had worked as a regional trainer on corruption, on anti-corruption, human rights and so many other things, at the MS Training Center for Development Cooperation in Arusha. One of the causes that you hardly have people sponsoring themselves for was anti-corruption. Because governments will not commit their money, so many organizations were not committing their money. But coming back to Nigeria and finding this project in ActionAid, I was overwhelmed. And that means that FCDO wants us to get the country right. The UK government wants us to get the country right. And so I was amazed at it, and so asking that we are closing today, but you, my fellow compatriots, you should not be surprised that if FCDO was looking for a project to close, that, of course, fell victim. I don't know if it's by coincidence. Do you remember the project off the mic at the National Assembly? I'm sure many of you can remember that. When from the NDDC, you can see somebody standing and said, I released such billions, so and so billions for palliatives for my colleagues. And in accountability, when he was defending at the National Assembly, now we heard, the man suddenly fainted. Have you seen a fainted person that they try to open his mouth and he carries the hand and is holding the hand? Have you ever seen a fainted person like that? And not too long, immediately we had, Akpabio, Governor Akpabio, former governor, also trying to say the issue of the corruption, because the cost of doing business is transferred. When you expect that you are giving 1 billion out, and in actual sense, what is going to do the business is 200 million. It means 800 million is going to some people. And what that means is that you are defrauding, consistently defrauding the company. And how does it happen? If we have members of the National Assembly that will also be involved in negotiating contracts, that are giving contracts to people, those who are getting jobs these days, you have to get a paper from somebody at the National Assembly and things like that. Or for, other people at the top. And then Akpabio was saying, Mr. Chairman, you know about what happened. They say off the mic, it's okay, it's okay. So when the following week we heard from FCDO that they are closing down the project, we were not surprised, because it's like we're a bunch of unserious people and a very, very, how do you qualify the politicians, the political class in Nigeria? Very sad indeed. And so this project, the project may be closing today, but Nigerians are not closing it down. Am I right? Partners, are we closing it down? No, we are going to continue to stand upright for Nigeria because we're not going away. And the fact that the seed that has been sown in this regard will germinate. I want to assure FCDO that I know that your hands were tied, but what is going on in Nigeria is unbelievable that those things happened at the National Assembly and Nigeria is still going on as usual, as normal. So then you are not surprised that NSAS protest came. But I'm glad. It means that Nigerians are listening because there is so much that you can take. When the water reaches the boiling point, you never know where it will go. And so this affects millions of the poor. And this takes out, it's very difficult for the civil society and all the sectors that are working to help lift millions of Nigerians, out of poverty, protect the planet, and achieve shared prosperity and dignity for all. Eliminating corruption and its harmful impacts will be crucial to our future well-being, to the future well-being of Nigeria. And that's why we're collaborating with ICPC. We have also worked a lot, the partners have worked a lot with EFCC. We're working with the National Orientation Agency and many other sectors, both at the state level where this project held. And I want to, just appreciate partners who are not able to be here, but are joining, via Skype. To dismantle corruption, the corruption's high walls, we must consolidate the immediate and the groundbreaking gains achieved by SCRAP-C on anti-corruption measures, terms of prevention, criminalization, stakeholders cooperation, and asset recovery. And it is wonderful, really wonderful. I hope that ICPC is able to make it. But if you look at the kind of work that our comrades there went to, I would say comrades because they are staff who have dedicated themselves to duty, the kind of work that was done, the discovery. I remember Newton calling me from the field, being frustrated by hundreds of constituency projects. He said, how can people be stealing from the poor? How can you be stealing from the poor? And so we have the quality of our citizenship. We have to be able to deal with that. Because even if the president means to fight corruption, which he stated he means, he cannot fight it from there. It's from you and I and all others involved. We cannot keep quiet. Public services must uphold the highest standard of integrity and ensure that that appointments and service delivery are given by merit. Public servants as well as officials must be guided by ethics, transparency, and accountability. Some of you may be familiar with the 2017 Auditor General's account, where they quoted that more than 300 agencies are not rendering any accounts. Yet, on a yearly basis, we are giving them money. How does that play? The private sector also has a crucial role. And I'm happy that this project, we're able to work with the private sector as well. Good behavior is good business. Business can convert anti-corruption. Businesses can tackle the issues of anti-corruption. But it's a tough journey if you are working with the government and you are the stumbling block, and if you don't offer the money, your business will not go on. Is a lot of temptation that is going on there. But I do believe that much as so many Nigerians working in the public sector and also the private sector are corrupt, there are many, many Nigerians, there are still Nigerians that are not corrupt, even in that system, because they have taken a stand for life. They have taken their own stand. And you need to take a stand, whether you want to stand upright for Nigeria or you are not standing upright. The decision to be a change agent starts from you and I, and you have to decide your stand. You can't stand on the verge. You cannot stand on the edge. And so you need to take a decision. We want to appreciate, regardless of all the closing out, ActionAid and the partners, we stand ready as ever, willing and able to partner more across board in the anti-corruption fight. Today, as we commemorate the International Anti-Corruption Day 2020, and also draws the curtain on SCRAP-C, we enjoin all stakeholders to continue to raise awareness on the evils and costs of corruption, and citizens' role in combating and preventing issues of corruption. We appreciate and welcome all of our partners, particularly FCDO here, ably represented. We welcome you. The MDAs will welcome you, and the private sector, all players, we want to welcome you. If you look at the fact sheet, which I hope is given, if it's not given yet, the fact sheets, the kind of milestones we got with SCRAP-C is really amazing because it enveloped us. About 143 organizations, citizens' actions supported towards resisting corruption and enhancing anti-corruption efforts in Nigeria. We had 198 media discussions and engagements on anti-corruption and corruption malpractices. When we looked at the media, we say, unless you know, it is what you know that you are able to report appropriately. And so there was a lot of focus on the media during this process. And I'm really proud of the communication department led by our beautiful Sisi. Lola, you did a great job, and I want to acknowledge that with the team. The emergence of the business action against corruption through our private sector engagement, a coalition of about 64 media, civil society organizations, and private sector operatives aimed at using collective action to improve corporate governance and reduce corruption in the Nigerian business environment. 6 community anti-corruption working groups were inaugurated across the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory to change citizens' perception towards legitimizing corruption. As a result of our constant citizens' engagement on anti-corruption crusade, in Kaduna State, the National Assembly reasserted the previous neglected constituency projects worth 40 million for the construction of primary health care unit into the 2018 budget, and the project has now been completed. Our social audit intervention and engagement at the state and community levels led to 13.29% increase in citizens reporting corruption cases to relevant government agencies, and public complaints response unit, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AED, and others in the first half of 2018. We built a capacity of 320 journalists from both print and electronic media. I think you need to cross-check that number, because I remember that at one point it was 400 and something. We need to cross-check that. The figure I'm giving here is 320. It was a big capacity building on investigative journalism and data journalism. 48 investigative reports on corruption cases undertaken and published, and we have all the publications. 47 independent corrupt practices commission operatives trained on basis of procurement, valuation, and document analysis to improve their technical operatives, operational and assessment skills. That's before they went into the field. For the monitoring, their capacity was built. In 2019, the project contributed to securing 8.1 billion in diverted funds, in dividend funds to the Nigerian government through the regular, central banks of processes. 229 interventions taken to strengthen citizens' networks to address corruption, the corruption practices at local government and also state levels. I wish today, COVID-19 didn't come. You would have a hall, this hall would have gone to International Conference Center for them to bring, to come and have testimonies. About 54,859 persons, male, you have 22,922, and female 10,978 persons, For the youth, we reached about 17,553. And then including people with disabilities, 3,406 of them. I remember the massive meeting of people with disabilities that came from different parts of the country in engaging because of issues of corruption, awakening their own response and having representation as well. I want to really thank all our partners, each and every one of our partners. Some of them are here, some are still coming. You know, they called from afar and some are online. I want to appreciate each and every one of you because they were chosen. What a perfect consortium we have. If we are going on anti-corruption, fight again, I can assure you that majority will come back to you, will come back to you. I want to thank you for the uniqueness. I know that you have to let your staff go. In the process of trying to get to the end of this, we had psychosocial support. Myself, I had to go through psychosocial support because I have a squad on this team, in this project that I wouldn't want to let go. And so we needed help, and we went through the training and also went through the training with the consortium partners and partners. Each partner had its uniqueness, and I want to say a big well done. I want to say a big well done to CCSI, to CDD, ITAD, which is our international partner because of their M&E collaboration, BBC Media Action. We really value your contribution from the media aspect. One of the unique things about this project is that we identified the resources that we didn't have and we got it from the pool, which is very, very unique. Aid Foundation, Convention for Business Integrity, really did a great job with business partners, with the private partners. Dispute Resolution Initiative, where we really acknowledge you. PACA is represented by a tireless comrade Ezinwa. We value you. We had Dedasri. We had Heather who was running the anti-corruption situation room. We hope that will not stop. And then we have CCD. We have WOTC, Policy Alert, and YAGA. All of you are valued. If I have not mentioned you there, know that we don't value you less. It's been great working on this project, and I want to commend each and every one of you. As a Nigerian, I want to tell FCDO that you have really built our capacity, and we all need to stand upright for Nigeria. So if you are going to stand upright for Nigeria, I want to hear you. Stand upright for Nigeria. Are you going to take a stand? If you have sanctified yourself, can you please stand and do as I'm saying? Stand upright for Nigeria. By the time you sit down, make sure that you keep up the standing up. What I mean is when you are sitting down, know that you are standing and declaring for Nigeria, for the future of Nigeria, that you will not be corrupt. And when situations come, you will remain strong for the future of Nigeria. I believe in Nigeria, and we believe in Nigeria. This is a great country. Thank you very much and welcome.
Please put your hands together one more time for Mrs. Ene Obi. We can do better, just a little bit more. I appreciate that. Show us some love. That's one of the most fantastic welcome addresses I've ever heard, and I'm not trying to patronize that. Thank you very much, ma'am, for that very detailed account in your welcome address. I mean, she came with receipts. It doesn't come better than that. How do you know somebody's... I'm not a psychologist, but let me drop a little hint of how you know when somebody's lying or lackadaisical about a conversation. Apart from the eye contact, the generic eye contact we all know. When person they talk, this kind of podium, the references they make, freestyle, and the frequency of it lets you know how passionate and involved they are emotionally and mentally. Did you see how many times she said, I remember that off the books, off the papers, off the records, she would just casually remember something. You see the rising and falling of her tone. Just a little thing. I stood back there and I was watching. I said, this is passion. She said it all. There's nothing more to add. The bottom line. We are all Nigerians and we all know the challenges that a lot of nations in Africa, Nigeria inclusive, are facing when it comes to corruption. A wise mind once said, Secrecy is one of the drivers of corruption. That's why we won't stop talking. This program, Operate for Nigeria, might be winding down to a temporary close, as I would love to put it. Corruption and the fight against corruption will not stop there. Can somebody say yes? Nah, don't go cold on me, nah. Okay, I know what's going on. You remember the time I was introducing somebody and I said Mr. instead of Mrs. My eye dim. I know why. My energy level. See, if your energy level wants to drop, don't let it. Look to your right. Let me tell your neighbor, say, look to your right. Not my right here. If you look to my right here, and I just two gentlemen, there, nothing there for you. Look to your right. Say, look on the right side. If you look at the right side of this building, or your own side, you will see something there for you. It's not only me that can consume that thing. Those are energy boosters. And from where I stand, let me peruse. I can see hot drink. No, not that hot drink. I mean coffee, tea. That's what I mean. Temperature hot. That's what I'm referring to. I can see spring roll, samosa, small chops, and the likes. I can't finish them alone. They are for you, not even for me. So please, this is the only rule. Casually, at any time you feel like, at any time your stomach is doing one kind, just gracefully stand up, walk over to that side, and pick anything. The powers conferred on me. I've been told to grant that permission. Anything you want. Casually pick anything you want and refresh yourself. There are no rules to it. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much. That was the country director for Action in Nigeria, Mrs. NLB. Please put your hands together for her one more time. To take us further in this wonderful event, it's my pleasure to invite FCDO for the goodwill message. FCDO, thank you very much for your support on this project. Please put your hands together for the spokesperson from FCDO. It's been a wonderful journey so far. My team and I were part of it, and your support is amazing. Thank you, sir. Please put your hands together for him one more time. I believe Mr. Andrew Chloe. Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, everyone. And I just knew that I would have to follow such a passionate and emotional speech. So thank you very much indeed for giving me the opportunity to speak. And good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, I want to extend my good wishes and gratitude for allowing me to speak here today. My speech is going to be about the need for partnership working. Corruption and illicit finance are a worldwide problem. In order to tackle corruption and illicit finance, partnership working is vital. It cannot be done in isolation. The United Kingdom acknowledges and thanks Nigeria for the opportunity to work together as one to tackle these issues. Tackling corruption and illicit finance in Nigeria is critical, as was mentioned in the previous speech, to the country's prosperity, security, and to addressing poverty and inequality. The money and assets that are stolen from Nigeria directly impact those who need it most. Money that could be used to fund hospitals, roads, medicine, and other infrastructure projects is lost illegally. Corruption undermines the rule of law and democracy, diverts resources away from where they're most needed, and creates barriers to doing business. The United Kingdom is working in partnership with Nigeria to tackle corruption and illicit finance. Tackling corruption and illicit finance in partnership with the federal government of Nigeria is a top priority and remains a top priority for the United Kingdom. The UK has built and maintains an excellent relationship with Nigerian anti-corruption agencies, as well as civil society, who fight corruption and illicit finance on a daily basis, and continue to both support, but equally as important, learn from these agencies. The UK is also supporting Nigerian partners to build formal and informal institutions that are more accountable, capable, and responsive, and that deliver better public services and more equitable growth. At the same time, the United Kingdom is looking to identify and close loopholes which allow the illicit funds to flow into the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom also looks to identify those professional neighbours who facilitate the flow of illicit finance gained from corruption into the United Kingdom. We are working with the federal government of Nigeria to return stolen assets and funds which have been identified and confiscated in the UK, to make sure that these funds are returned as quickly as possible to aid Nigeria's growth and development. I thank you again for the support that you've given me and look forward to continuing our excellent working relationship. Thank you very much indeed.
Please put your hands together one more time for Mr. Andrew Close. Close from... That was a very short but powerful and precise one from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. Thank you very much, sir. They are very important in the fight, in our fight against corruption through Upright for Nigeria project. And we sincerely appreciate your contribution and support and that of the organization. You don't see me, I don't go arrange food though. Made it enough for cold. Like I said again, if you look on the right side, I mean the right side, you can just casually take a few steps, get some hot coffee, some hot tea, chicken wing, a few pastries, and then continue. You have stamina and energy to continue. I don't go arrange my own, no. When I say, now only me go do them. To take us further in this wonderful event, it's my pleasure to call on, but before then, first of all, I would love to appreciate two people. One person was very important at the foundation and the planning of the Upright for Nigeria project. He used to work with Action Aid Nigeria, but now he's with Plan International. We appreciate his contribution. And I would love to appreciate, please join me to appreciate Mr. Tunde Aremu. He was very important in the early days of the whole project. Glad to see you here, sir. And also I would love to appreciate the team from ICPC, led by Mr. Abdul Hassan. Thank you very much for coming. Are they here? Yes, sir. Please put your hands together for them. We love our ICPC. They are doing a very important job. Every effort against corruption, both at the leadership or the followership level, is appreciated. I know what I'm talking about when I say leadership and followership level. Not be only them. We serve, we get our own for hand. And that's why Nigerians are now awake. There's no more keeping quiet. There's no more offering of any mic by any honorable. We are all honorables and will continue to light the mic. What's the lighting of the mic? No to corruption. And it gives me tremendous joy to know that we might have a few challenges, but we have a lot of people who are upright, who are committed to doing the right things, accountability, transparency. And just a small fraction of those people are standing in front of me this morning. And I mean you. No, sir, you. Also you, man. Even you. Help me turn to your neighbor and say, you are one of the good ones. I mean, if your neighbor didn't talk, they don't believe you be that too. Turn to your neighbor and say, you are one of the good ones. If the person talking to you didn't say it with passion, I've already talked about it, you know what it means. Thank you very much. I'd love to call for the next goodwill message. I think it's about time to have ICPC deliver their goodwill message. Sir, are we ready? Okay then, please put your hands together for Mr. Hafiz Hassan. Mr. Hassan Hafiz Mohammed. Please put your hands together for him.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our partnership with Action Aid Nigeria, and by extension, the FCDO, has been one of the most rewarding partnerships that has been made available to the Commission in a long time. The FCDO, through its vendor, Action Aid Nigeria, under the SCRAP-C program, has in fact placed at our disposal a rolling stock of funds, so to speak, spanning many years, which has helped us to achieve so many of the successes that we have achieved, notably in the area of constancy project tracking. FCDO and Action Aid Nigeria have been there for us from the very beginning till date. And in fact, if not for the disruption occasioned by the global disruption occasioned by COVID-19, this relationship with regards to the consensus and executive project tracking initiative would have gone further than today. Action Aid Nigeria and FCDO has helped us in so many ways. We've had so many training programs, capacity enhancement, development of the national value curriculum, and so many other such partnerships. The results of our partnership and the successes are as apparent and as clear as today's sunshine. For all these and many more, we owe a debt of gratitude, and indeed Nigeria as a whole owes a debt of gratitude to FCDO and Action Aid Nigeria. Action Aid Nigeria and its staff had been with us even to the hinterland, crevices, villages, just making sure that we are able to monitor execution of executive constituency projects in Nigeria, which has been a tremendous success. Thank you so very much. We look forward to having more and better rewarding relationships with both the FCDO and Action Aid Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Hassan Hafiz Mohammed from ICPC, Nigeria. I just the balance on top with my snack. I don't know say that speech will go short like that. I've been saying only FCD will speak go short. The fight against corruption is not a one-day job. Neither is it a one-month job. It's not even a one-year job. And our desire and our expectation is that even beyond today, each and every one of us in our circle of influence will take the message out there and continue that fight of love, that labor of love, to make sure we bring sanity, integrity, and accountability and transparency to all sectors of this country. A lot of people came together to make the Upright for Nigeria project successful. You have seen some of them, and you will see more as the event proceeds. I would like to welcome the chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, or his representative for their goodwill message. Are you around, sir? Okay. What about the National Orientation Agency? That's another important organization. We also have citizens groups and CSOs. They will also be invited later to come and contribute to the program with a goodwill message. But before then, maybe this is a good point for me to invite Mr. Chris Okeke, the SRO of FCDO, for his message. Are you ready, sir? Please put your hands together for Mr. Chris Okeke, the SRO of FCDO. So just take your time. You know? I just want balance on top of the chicken when I call it. Understand? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Donga. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I bring you warm greetings from the Development Director, FCDO, and the UK High Commissioner to Nigeria. My name is Chris Okeke, Governance Advisor, FCDO, and the Senior Responsible Officer for the ACON program and the SCRAP-C program. I am delighted to be here at the end of program dissemination event for the SCRAP-C component of the ACON program. And let me start by saying a big thank you to the hardworking Scrap-C team, the consortium partners, the downstream partners, and staff that have dedicated their time and worked tirelessly to support anti-corruption measures in Nigeria. I think what I meant to say there, let me put it in Nigeria way. I want to say 3 bosas to the Scrap-C team. So let's go, please. We need to celebrate the work that you have done. So let's go. Bosa, bosa, bosa. Thank you very much. So in the FCDO, we recognize the importance of working with a broad coalition of partners in Nigeria, including the government, civil society organizations, and citizens to reduce the tolerance of corruption and ensure that those who are corrupt are prosecuted. When we started the ACON program, we outlined our approach, and we are convinced that to reduce corruption, we need, 1, the society. We need citizens, we need civil society to maintain support for anti-corruption and progressively change social norms. We know that social norms influence our acceptance or rejection of corrupt behaviors. We need sanction, effective legislation, and public policies to combat corruption and to ensure that looters are effectively investigated, prosecuted, and convicted. We also need research, evidence, and data to stimulate public discourse and ensure that public policy is based on evidence. And Scrap-C and Action Aid have been at the forefront of this approach in the fight against corruption since the inception of the ACON program in 2017. And we are proud of what Action Aid, its consortium, and downstream partners have achieved in the past 3 years. We are particularly pleased, and let me say this here because it's not all the time that you see civil society organizations and government partners working closely. And we are particularly pleased with the partnership with ICPC in particular. This partnership has resulted, as NLB mentioned earlier, in the tracking of executive and constituency projects that are worth billions of naira in over 28 states. And also it has resulted in the return of contractors to projects, as well as the investigation of corrupt cases. We are also pleased about the investigative reports championed by Scrap-C partner journalists that have contributed in preventing the loss of government revenues. An example is the report around the Malibu OPL license. We are also proud of the social audit interventions and engagement at the state and community level. And this is very important, particularly for our rural communities that should benefit from projects, from executive and constituency projects. And we are proud of the work that Scrap-C and Action Aid, they have done at that level. We believe that the program's approach of facilitating engagement between policymakers and citizens groups, as well as the social accountability approach of enhancing citizens' ability to hold public officers to account, and the behavior change approach have all yielded significant results. As my colleague Andrew noted earlier, the UK remains committed in the partnership with Nigerian government and civil society partners on the fight against corruption. I am hopeful that the Scrap-C program partners, or the coalition of civil society groups, people with disabilities, the media, traditional institutions. I can see our district head here from Kano who I've worked with on our other program, Pearl program. So thank you very much. The women groups and private sector organizations will sustain all the work that Scrap-C had started since 2017. And we thank you all very much. And I wish you all a good day ahead as we reflect on the results of Scrap-C program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's always good, like he said, when public institutions partner with private on an important topic like corruption in Nigeria, and the result is a success that we have seen in the Upright for Nigeria project. Once again, thank you very much, ICPC. We appreciate it. Next up is a presentation from another important partner. CCSI was very much hands-on on this project. And the director, Mrs. Babafunke, is ably represented today. Unfortunately, she couldn't be around, but she's ably represented by Mr. David Lawal. We're going to take that presentation. We have a documentary to show you immediately after that. I'm sure you are going to enjoy, and it's going to summarize everything for you. Is he around? Okay, so it's my pleasure to welcome the representative of the director of CCSI, Mrs. Babafunke, in the person of Mr. David Lawal. Please put your hands together for him.
Good morning, all. So, as said, I'm David Lawal, representing Mrs. Babafunke of Center for Communication and Social Impact. So, very quickly, we go to, I'll take the slide. Speaking on the role of communication in curbing corruption in Nigeria. So, we all understand that the corruption space in Nigeria has been very toxic. So when you talk of communicating anti-corruption, every effort that has to do with communicating anti-corruption, once you mention corruption, people go into a defensive mode because practically maybe everybody has a portion of corruption or a form of corruption or the other that they are guilty of. So when you mention corruption, people go into a defensive mode, like maybe what he wants to talk about would come to me or something. So now we'll start with what is communication? We all know what communication will be, but in the context of corruption, on the Scrap-C project, CCSI was very strategic in using social behavioral change communication in addressing the anti-corruption project. Now, I won't take too much of time on the context. We all understand the corruption narratives in Nigeria. We understand the Transparency International position in a ranking of corruption in Nigeria, at least as at last year, 2019. So the next slide, please. So when we talk of behavioral change, social behavioral change, we understand that this doesn't happen so easily. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. Now, to effect a social behavioral change in the course of implementing this Scrap-C project, we were very strategic in creating a communication strategy that would help us deliver the anti-corruption message effectively. Now, for the process, next slide, please. Now, there's a process to behavioral change. Now, in the process, we have the pre-knowledge stage. Now, the pre-knowledge stage is the moment and the time that people get to know that what they were doing is probably has an element of corruption in it. So in the course of implementing this project, we found out that a lot of people do not know that some of the things that they do could be termed as corruption or has elements of corruption. So for example, the man who bypasses power, who bypasses the meter in the house, does not see it as corruption. the driver that beats traffic lights does not see anything wrong in it until the knowledge comes. So a majority of Nigerians were at the level of pre-knowledge until knowledge came. So when knowledge came to them through the Scrapsy project, there was the issue of approval. So we remember very well while implementing this project from the beginning, some people at first thought that the project came at a time that the government was talking about change and fighting corruption. So when we started the campaign, people thought that we were for the government, like we were a pro-APC campaign. So there was resistance at some level, like they are government people, they are promoting government activities. So they were at that approval level until they could see the consistency in the messaging that this is not just about government, it is about what citizens could do at their own level to contribute to the change that we want to see in Nigeria. Now, after that's at the intention level. So after approval, they get to see the intention of the messaging, and then now they could see what they could do, which is what they can do, the practice part of it. Now, after practice, we get to the advocacy level, which is where we are now. We are the level where citizens are now the ones spreading the message of the campaign. Citizens are the ones owning the campaign and taking it forward. Even as the project is closing out today, a lot of our partners seated here, the implementing partners at the grassroots level seated here, can testify to the fact that based on their activities, citizens are now owning the fight. Now they are at the advocacy level, taking on the fight for the campaign. So this takes us through the individual journey to change. So like I said at first, from the pre-knowledge to the advocacy. So pre-contemplation is the first stage where people start thinking. Please move the slide forward. There is an individual, yes. So this individual is at the pre-contemplation stage. Now, the pre-contemplation stage for most people is a stage where we are comfortable with what we are doing. We don't want to change. We don't want to move. We don't want anything that would attack what we have known, or that would challenge. Yes, that's the word. That would challenge the information we have had before, until when knowledge comes. So now this is at the behavioral change level. Now, so contemplation, it moves to contemplation when knowledge comes. Now, when knowledge comes, the person gets to contemplation. Then the next thing is decision taking and determination. That is the decision to want to change. So a person who has benefited from corruption over time will find it difficult to change when you now identify what he or she is doing as corruption. This is one of the places where communication for change could be a bit difficult. So if I got a job because my brother is the chairman of a government office, although I'm not qualified for it, probably I studied Yoruba in the university, but now I'm working at the space institution. I don't know the correlation between the two, but because my brother is the chairman of the organization, for example, I get the job into that position. The day you now confront me with the knowledge that what I have done is corruption, the decision to want to change will be difficult because I'm a beneficiary of corruption at that time. So the same thing goes for most people. So decision to change and the determination to change is a bit difficult when they are confronted with the information of what they are doing has been wrong. Now, from that level is the action level, where after you have agreed that what you are doing is, yes, you have communicated it to me that what I'm doing is all right. Now, the action to change. Now, there is a maintenance level, which is where you are coming from before and where you are now and where you should be going to. Is where the maintenance level is, where you have to be consistent in being upright onward. Let me use the word. That's what the campaign is all about. Upright for Nigeria. Being upright for Nigeria going forward. My ABU CD for Action Aid talked about standing upright for Nigeria. So even if you are sitting, if you are standing, if you are walking, wherever you are, the point is be upright for Nigeria. So you might be standing upright for Nigeria, you can be sitting, be upright for Nigeria. You could be walking, be upright for Nigeria. So this stage where there is a barrier is between the decision making and the action taking. A lot of people take time here. There's a barrier here. A lot of people take time between the decision making and the action stage before they get to the maintenance of the information that they have received, then move on to the advocacy level. Let's move on, please. So now, what would we say is then the role of communication? Like I mentioned earlier, communication is already a hard topic to talk about. So I'll try to summarize so I don't take too much of your time. So what did we do on the campaign when we realized that it could be a bit difficult to communicate to people that what they were doing is wrong, and we want to change their behavior? We want to challenge the attitude that they have always had or that they have developed over time that allowed corruption to breed in the country. So move on to the next slide, please. We had to start with creating a brand identity for the campaign. So like most of you would have heard here today, the SCRAP-C project, Strengthening Citizens' Resistance Against Prevalence of Corruption, is a project, but it has a campaign to it, which is the part that interfaces with the citizens. That's the Upright for Nigeria campaign that I talked about. So if you are online here, if you go online, you check via all the social media handles, you go on the website, you go on the internet and you check on the website, Upright for Nigeria. We have consistency even with the branding of the project. So to avoid errors, if you type Upright and you put figure 4 Nigeria or Upright FOR Nigeria, it will merge into the same campaign. So people don't steal the campaign because we used one name and then they want to use another name to blackmail the campaign. So we're able to maintain consistency. So the name was adopted. There's a website, we have social media handle, and the values that the campaign promoted. The values that the campaign promoted and the name. The reason for this name is, so while we're doing the closeout event, the closeout documentary, we talked to people about what they could see, what they think about the name. Now, I talked about how hard it is to talk about corruption in Nigeria. Now, when you hear Upright for Nigeria, even without hearing the other part of the slogan, which says stand against corruption, the knowledge or the information that comes to you is the fact that I need to be upright for Nigeria. I need to do something for Nigeria. That's the whole message, summarized. Upright for Nigeria. I need to do something for Nigeria. I need to take a part in the kind of Nigeria that I want to see. That's why we have that name, Upright for Nigeria. So when you see the name, you know exactly what you are supposed to do. Then the brand identity and the positioning. We also realized that in one of our research, we realized that when you talk about corruption, most of the other campaigns that have existed before now used some sort of communication that when it comes to people, it kind of makes them angry, like you are pointing to me. And the ordinary man does not want you to accuse him directly, to say what he's doing is wrong. Instead, what did you do with the campaign? Instead of saying, this person is a thief, we could communicate the same message in a different way to say that this person can be upright. We have not said the person is a thief, but what we have said is that the person can be upright. Instead of saying that, so in general, we came up with the brand values that if we promote these values in Nigeria, if everybody could imbibe these values, if everybody could accept and live with these values in Nigeria, it means we would all get to the level that we want to be. And the values are the values of honesty, integrity, and transparency. This sums up everything that we want to be in Nigeria. If I could do business with integrity, if I could be honest in doing business, if I could be transparent in my lifestyle and all that I do, everybody could do the same thing. It means we are getting somewhere in the country. So that determined the message tone. Now, this is profile of the integrity icons. Instead of coming up with brand ambassadors, we had issues with that because someone is upright today, tomorrow, especially with the celebrities, they could have one issue or the other, and then it then affects the project. We decided to come up with icons that Mr. and Mrs. Upright, who represented the project. Next, please. I'm trying to round up. So these are the positioning statements. The statement here is, after all you have said, the question that most people would have in their mind is, what do you expect me to do? What am I expected to do? You have pointed out a lot of things. So as a citizen, what am I expected to do? These are the positioning statements. You and your loved ones will enjoy. So instead of saying that, don't thief, or instead of saying attack that politician, or attack that government office holder who has stolen billions or stolen money, we say you and your loved ones will enjoy improve quality of life, you enjoy quality education, improved healthcare system, and all that, if you could resist corruption. So in resisting corruption, you could be standing against the person that is doing it. You could report the person. In doing that, you know that there is hope for you to enjoy a better Nigeria instead of tolerating it. So some of the outcomes, I will summarize some of the outcomes. We got some of these outcomes through the radio program that we're running in the States as a way of communicating to the grassroots. We realized that the media is very important and radio is very effective across the country. So we have this report from Kano State where this is a whooping sum of 10 billion naira corruption case of the Anchor Boras program, where the money was diverted and the rice farmers didn't see the loan that they were supposed to get. But through the radio program in Kano State, they were able to call in to say, we heard of this money, but we can't see it. And interestingly, that day, the EFCC chairman, the EFCC state coordinator, I don't know what title it is at the state level, was on the program. The state chairman, thank you, sir, was on the program that day, and then the case was taken forward. The state chairman of Refan and his secretary, I think, were invited for interrogation. They didn't show up. They were arrested. So these are some of the cases that had come up as a result of citizens now taking up the fight. Like, they now know that if they take action, they will benefit from it. If they resist corruption, the value is coming back to them instead of the level of hopelessness and helplessness that they have always felt. We also, in communicating further, we had to deploy humor. Corruption is hard, like I said, but we still have to find a way of communicating it. So we had to use humor. We had to engage a social media influencer who is ably represented here today himself, to communicate the messages of anti-corruption to the people, so they could see that if they do the right thing, the country will be in the right path that it ought to be. Next, please. Thank you. So in general, we are all employed in communicating that we should please stand upright for Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. David Lawal from CCSI. Like I said before, you can see the passion in all the entities that made up this project, Upright for Nigeria. It's the passion for a better country, a passion for a better society, and I strongly believe that we will get there. Now, you've had a lot of wonderful goodwill messages from a lot of people before Mr. David Lawal. Mr. Chris Okeke from FCDO came up to speak. Very insightful, passionate as well. Before him, Mr. Andrew Close came up, FCDO also. And before him, we had Mr. Hafiz Hassan from ICPC. And before him, we had Mr. Abdul Hassan Mohammed from Plan International. And of course, we had that wonderful welcome address from the director, country director, Action Aid Nigeria, Mrs. Ene Obi. I said this to recap, just in case you're one of those watching us on YouTube. Yes, in case you didn't know, this program is streaming live on YouTube on the Action Aid Nigeria page. And you can do well to send a link to colleagues, friends who might not be opportune to be here. So yes, as we're watching one another here, they're watching us. And that's the whole essence of that. Somebody I introduced earlier, who was very instrumental in the early stages of the whole brain work and planning for Upright for Nigeria project, is also going to speak briefly, and it's my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me as I bring out to the stage Mr. Tunde Aremu from Plan International. Let's put your, okay, you know it's allowed. I don't say men who don't day down. You're not munching. Wait, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. MC, sorry, before you demarcate, no, don't come up. Before you demarcate, people studied Yoruba. I studied Yoruba, and I agree that the process of employment should not be burdened by corruption. But studying Yoruba does not make you less qualified than any other person. Okay. Well, I will stand on existing protocols, as we always say here. On behalf of Dr. Husseini Abdul, the country director of Plan International, who, interestingly, like me, is also an ActionAid product. I say congratulations to ActionAid on the execution of this project. I also say big congratulations to the consortium partners and the downstream collaborators too. We are extremely happy that you've done very well on this project. We are also extremely happy because knowing the history of this project and how it's coming to this terminal stage, we are also excited that it's not coming to a terminal stage because of challenges with execution, but because of challenges that are affecting so many other projects across the world. And I'm also actually excited that Mr. Okeke has also promised that FCDO is not abandoning Nigeria on the issue of corruption. And I also believe that the FCDO will also take notice of the fact that amongst the projects on corruption, on responses to corruption in Nigeria, SCRAPC is one of the most successful projects on this. And as we say congratulations to ActionAid and its consortium partners, we are also pledging that where it is necessary, we are also willing to continue to also support and work with ActionAid on other efforts at combating corruption. And it is important to us in Plan International as we also make efforts at transforming power relations on behalf of 10 million girls in Nigeria, that we also take care of the issue of corruption, which is also one of the things that is also taking education away from our children, which is the reason why over 10 million children are out of school today in Nigeria, and the majority of them girls. And we are also concerned that in Nigeria, where a lot of adolescent girls are still being married off, a lot of adolescent girls are also getting pregnant, that the nation still has a very troubling record of having as much as 117 deaths out of 1,000 per 1,000 live births. We are worried about that. And as I said earlier on, as we congratulate you for successful implementation of SCRAPC, we are also pledging that we are willing to work with you and stand with you on other projects on corruption. Thank you very much.
That was Mr. Tunde Aremu from Plan International. Like I said earlier, it's good to see so much of concerted efforts at a drive towards making our society free and fair, the one with honesty, that's beaming with integrity and saturated with transparency. And like I said, I strongly believe with people like you and that person sitting next to you, we shall get there. Very quickly, I'm going to invite up to the podium for his good message. Someone from PACA, Mr. Ezenwa Wagu. He's going to briefly address us. And after that, we have a documentary that you watch. Please put your hands together for him as he comes to the podium.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. I want to thank Mrs. NLB, the country director of ActionAid, for building a family, and this family of civil society organizations who have partnered with ActionAid. We're not seeing this as a project. And so when people talk about its ending or winding up, projects wind up, but the kind of things that Action Aid has implanted in the partners means that the fight against corruption will continue. We are tremendously appreciative of the FCDO, and the reason for that is that we know that even when a certain kind of project comes to an end, a new one begins immediately. And civil society organizations in Nigeria will always be excited to partner with the FCDO to take the anti-corruption fight forward. And for my partners, my colleagues from civil society organization, you know your doggedness, your resilience, and the team spirit with which we worked on this project will continue to lead us and guide us in future things to do. Thank you and appreciate you. And sorry, Newton Osamaye, the ground man. Everyone has been talking, nobody has talked about him, but without him, it was practically impossible to build this network. I want to appreciate you and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Very quickly, I'd love to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Destiny Enabulile. Is the chairman of Ovia Southwest Local Government Area from Edo State. You're welcome, sir. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. And if you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for joining us. The fight against corruption is not just for people in the hall here, it's also for you out there. Whatever little contributions in your circle of influence that you can make goes a long way. We keep speaking, we keep talking about it. Like we said before, no offering of the mic, and we keep doing the best we can to make sure we abide by those cardinal points of honesty, integrity, and transparency. We have a documentary that's going to play very quickly. And after the documentary, but before then, Mr. Adewale Adedotun, the social mobilization manager from Action in Nigeria, has an overview of the Scrap C project. Is he? Huh? Okay. So before he comes for his presentation, let's take a look at that documentary and get the insight, the summary of what this journey has been like so far. Enjoy it.
The Nigeria that has the philosophy, that has the direction, where we have the national dream.
You look at the name Upright for Nigeria, you know exactly what it is. To stand right for Nigeria.
It is persons with disability that are suffering corruption most in Nigeria.
I agree that few Nigerians are corrupt, and the rest of us who are more than the corrupt ones are not doing anything about it.
Anti-corruption should start from we the mothers, we the women. If we are so scared of letting the public know the inefficiency, the lack of willpower to fix public institutions, to make it as world-class standard the way they project, then I don't know where we are headed as a country.
The Nigeria of my dream is the Nigeria that has a curriculum. What's that curriculum? The Nigeria that has a philosophy, that has a direction, where we have the national dream.
You look at the name Upright for Nigeria, you know exactly what it is. To stand right for Nigeria.
It is persons with disability that are suffering corruption most in Nigeria.
I agree that few Nigerians are corrupt, and the rest of us who are more than the corrupt ones are not doing anything about it.
Anti-corruption should start from we the mothers, we the women. If we are so scared of letting the public know the inefficiency, the lack of willpower to fix public institutions, to make it as world-class standard the way they project, then I don't know where we are headed as a country.
younger ones are actually more at home, not because they want to be at home, but because they cannot afford the so-called private schools.
As citizens, if we look at that, we also enable corruption. It will go a long way to help us.
Therefore, we adults, we parents, it lies in our hands to correct this
Okay,
content.
apologies for that little technical glitch.
And that is the reason why
While
when
the
we say the
technical
young shall
team
grow,
sort
let
that
us
out.
teach the young the best way to live, not to teach.
Okay, thank you. While we fix that little technical glitch, I think it's better we have the presentation first so they can iron out all that. So that all the hard work that went into documentary, you can enjoy it. And so please join me as a welcome, Mr. Adewale Adedotun, the Social Mobilization Manager from Action in Nigeria. You're welcome, sir. Adedotun.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to provide an overview of what the project SCRAP-C is all about. And I'm going to keep my 10 C's in simple, continuous ones because ab initio, we premise SCRAP-C implementation on 2 pillars. One is value for money, which is standing on 4 legs: efficiency, economy, equity, and efficiency. And the other bigger leg is sustainability. And that is why everything we are going to talk about here, we give you the impression that even though SCRAP-C is being closed out officially today, the project forever will always be implemented by the partners that have been on this project. I'm going to start by saying that in 2017, FCDO, that used to be known as DFID, had the plan to fight corruption in Nigeria through a program we call ACON. ACON had 3 pillars, and it was to run for 5 years. Obviously, we know why we're having this close out today. It is not for inefficiency, it is not for corruption, but it is for the exigency of the global challenge we had, and the donor had to do the decision, take the decision that was taken. That takes us to the theory of change of this project. And the UK government theory of change on anti-corruption suggests that at the bottom of corruption manifestation in Nigeria, a high level of patronage and nepotism, and the elite which promote rent-based political settlement. These have entrenched permissible social attitude and behavior in the society, weak legal framework, resulting in weak sanctions and weak systems and processes which create an environment for corruption. The theory of change, what about it? The UK government approach to addressing all of this is to work with national civil society organizations and public institutions to change social norms in society through citizens' collective actions, strengthening systems, and improving on sanctions, respectively. This is with the hope that all these actions will contribute to reducing corruption in Nigeria in the life of this project. For us, it's painful that we thought we'd run this for 5 years, but the 3 years we have done, you can see the impact we have made. Why SCRAP-C project, if we have to have that question? And I'll say that the project was designed to contribute to reduction in corruption through changing public attitudes and norms, and increasingly disapprove of corrupt activities, leading to citizens taking collective action, as we have seen, in demanding an upright society. This makes the project an innovative intervention. And why do we think SCRAP-C is an innovative intervention? It is because it makes a shift from the traditional approach applied by supply side, that is the government, in terms of fighting corruption. In addressing corruption, SCRAP-C complements the effort of government though. The project adopts collective action, which I mentioned earlier, as an approach which seeks the societal input in the fight against corruption. Therefore, the project assesses the correlation between social norms and corruption and how social norms could be leveraged to fight corruption. How is SCRAP-C contributing to anti-corruption fight? Basically, the project facilitates public demand and attitude for anti-corruption by strengthening and organizing collective and individual action and voices against corruption and graft. How do we also continue to do that? What are the approaches that we adopt? Number one is what we call top-down intervention. Number two, social accountability intervention. And finally, behavioral intervention. And by way of explanation quickly, the first one, which you call the top-down intervention, works by ensuring that we liaise and engage with government institutions through advocacy and campaigning. We also provide policy analysis and recommendation to help create enabling environment for our intervention. Secondly, talking about social accountability intervention, we work with CSOs, the media, various citizens groups, young people, women, and persons with disability to develop required capacity through training and sensitization for effective engagement with government. And the final approach we adopt in terms of implementing SCRAP-C is what we call behavioral intervention. We continue to work with CSO, even though we are closing out, media, various citizens groups, young people, women, persons with disability, because they are very, very close to our heart, to develop media campaign for targeted audience to create corruption-averse mentality. Now, how did we make this happen? And how are we going to continue to sustain this? We work with three categories of partners. The core consortium partners, namely ActionAid Nigeria, Center for Democracy and Development, Center for Communication and Social Impact, and we also work with the technical partner, that's BBC Media Action and ITAD, and the downstream partners, namely Aid Foundation, CBI, DAG, which you call DRI now, Dispute Resolution Institute, PACA, IAGA, Policy Alert, Dedastry, EDA, and CCD, as well as WordC, the last but certainly not the least. And that graphical representation we have to your right gives you an idea of who are in the core consortium and the technical partner, as well as the downstream partners. And I say again that without this fantastic team, we wouldn't be having what we are doing today. Today certainly is joyous for us. At the same time, we are paying in a way that we have to cut it short as against what we had as our intention of 5 years. But one thing we are happy about is the fact that this project officially may be closing out today. Certainly, these wonderful partners have imbibed so much in themselves as organizations and in people that have worked with them and those they have also reached out to. So the sustainability of SCRAP-C certainly is no doubt, and we give you a round of applause. Please give it to them. Talking about where we implemented SCRAP-C, we have Akwa Ibom, Borno, Enugu, Kaduna. We take Kano and Jigawa to be a cluster, Lagos and FCT. And the map you have to your right gives a graphical illustration of where we operated. What do we say as we wrap SCRAP-C officially by way of this closeout? We say, let's keep standing upright for Nigeria and stand against, we should continue to stand against corruption. I say thank you, Nagode, Imela Esheo, Sonson Uwese. Thank you, everyone. God bless you, really good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adewale Adedoton. You know the beautiful thing about actually, the speakers that have come on this podium to address us today, they've all come with receipts. You know what they call receipts? Facts and figures are accurate, not without mentioning any words. And that's to show you that there's hope. Yes, we might be going through a lot in the country or the continent as a whole, but with all the supporters, all the contributors, all the entities that clustered together to synergize on birthing Upright for Nigeria project, it's a proof that together we can stand, together we can make a change, together we can address the issue of corruption. And most importantly, like he said, the fight against corruption does not stop because the project is coming to a close. In fact, it's just starting. It's supposed to be a way to empower, to energize, to excite, to encourage each and every one of us in a circle of influence, whoever you are, NGO, media, celebrity, individual, just by being a citizen, you can speak up against corruption. Don't forget what this program is all about. Even if you are streaming live and watching out wherever you are, it's all about strengthening citizens' resistance against the prevalence of corruption. Scrap C. Let's scrap corruption out of Nigeria. It's possible. Do you believe that? Is it possible? Is it possible? Yeah, you know, obviously. Obviously, there's a part of corruption trying to fight back. And from one of the illustrations, I think that was from Mr. David Lawal representing Mrs. Baba Funke from CCSI. One of the things is the foundation, the first step he spoke about in communicating was that there's at the very bottom of the whole scale, there are people who are not even aware that what they are doing is tantamount to corruption. We see this every day. I mean, my team and I were privileged to be part of this project, creating comedy sketches for communication on social media, which is without a doubt a very large platform for a lot of Nigerians, old and young. You know, finding elderly people on Facebook and WhatsApp. You know the whole story about WhatsApp messages flying, family WhatsApp groups, alumni, old school student WhatsApp groups, and all the things that go down there. And you see, you know what happens on Twitter and Instagram. So we worked together with them, and one of the things we noticed as well, confirming what he said, was a lot of people don't know. In fact, one of the sketches that came out through Upright for Nigeria was that about people casually just doing sharp practices with electricity, manipulating the electric meters or electricity meters without knowing it's not bad now. I'm just trying to pay less. Yes, but someone else is paying for it down the line somehow. You see the skit about casually throwing junk or dirt or refuse or food wrappers, chewing gum wrapper, sweet wrapper, gala nylon, pure water sachet through the window of your car. Somebody's going to be responsible for that, or else the flood is going to carry it into a drainage, block it, cause flooding several miles down. But you know what makes me really happy? Nobody here has ever done that before. Smile at your neighbor if you're not wearing a mask. Oh. You see those people where they look straight, where they look me straight, they're not moving, they're not. I'm not saying you've done it before, but there's something about people who are always looking straight when they drop words like that. But I'm always happy to know that you guys are part of the change we need. Put your hands together for yourselves. You are part of the change we need. All right, just about now, I believe the video documentary is ready for your enjoyment. Please watch it. After the video documentary, we're going to have a short presentation from Ms. Idayat Hassan, ably represented by Mr. Shamsuddin Yusuf from Center for Democracy and Development, and he's going to be presenting on a report on electoral corruption. That will be interesting. Electoral corruption. But before then, let's check out this documentary.
Nigeria is like Guinea, the Nigeria that has a curriculum. What's that curriculum? The Nigeria that has a philosophy, they have a direction. Where we have the national dream.
You look at the name Upright for Nigeria, you know exactly what it is. Just to stand right for Nigeria.
Persons with disability that are suffering corruption most in Nigeria.
I agree that few Nigerians are corrupt, and the rest of us who are more than the corrupt ones are not doing anything about it. Anti-corruption should start from we the mothers, we the women.
If we are so scared of letting the public know the inefficiency, the lack of willpower to fix public institutions, to make it as world-class standard the way they project, then I don't know where we are headed as a country.
The younger ones are actually more at home, not because they want to be at home, but because they cannot afford the so-called private schools.
As citizens, if we look at that, we also enable corruption. It will go a long way to help us.
Therefore, we adults, we parents, it lies in our hands to correct this country. And that is the reason why when we say the young shall grow, let us teach the young the best way to live, not to teach them how to embezzle money.
We went around Alimosho and we discovered an uncompleted primary school. We wrote a letter to the local governments. We were honored. We spoke to the SA on I think supervisor on education as at then. And within a twinkle of an eye, even without seeing the local government chairman, by September, all the contractors went back to site. We kept monitoring, and today we can see what the progress is all about. Just basically what we felt was not coming from the harmful side, but coming from the good side. Sometimes they keep forgetting these things, but we feel if we do our checks and balances and ask questions, drive social accountability within our environment, things can actually be put in place.
In 2017, there was this budget allocation for persons with disability of 50 million. 2017 came and gone. We didn't see 50 million. There was nothing about 50 million. Subsequently, we came to 2018. Another budget was announced. 50 million allocated for persons with disability. By 2019, already I've been aware of what SCRAPC is all about. As one of the stakeholders of the disabled community in Kano State and the Executive Director of Gender and Disability Inclusion Advocacy Center, and a member of budget tracking group at the same time. Another budget was to be announced. I was invited. So after the budget announcement, this, that, this sector is taking that, this sector, person with disability, 50 million, as usual. I was patient enough. The announcement or the program ended. It was time for questions. I raised up my hand. I asked, Commissioner, sir, with all due respect, in 2017, there was 50 million allocated for persons with disability in Kano State. 2018. Now, we are still announcing it, another 50 million again. I said, sir, I don't know. How are we supposed to access what has been happening with all those 50 million? Believe you me, in the next 2-3 months, the whole PWDs in Kano were gathered. And they were empowered with 20,000 each. And that was because of SCRAPC that came to us.
We've been holding trainings and seminars that has empowered me with the tools, the skills, and the needed experience to be able to ask questions. Now I can walk into the office of my local government chairman and ask questions without feeling afraid. I can see maybe where things are not going well in my community. I can know where and where, to channel my grievances to.
All this corruption in this country, those in the helms of affairs, those who are involved in this corruption, they are all born by a woman. And if their mothers checked them, we would have had less of these problems. So what is going on is a continuous process. If we don't, as parents, start stopping it now, as mothers, start challenging or asking questions from our children, where do you get this from? Who gave it to you? And you trace that from to the main point of where your child got that material. You are a good mother. By so doing, your child will be scared of bringing any other thing home and will not even try to bring such things home again or get involved in any such thing outside there when they are still young, not talk less of when they are already old.
Definitely, SCRAPC for us is just a starting point, and we are taking it from there.
Please put your hands together for the producers of that documentary. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was short, but pretty heavy. Two things struck me in that documentary. The lady, Madame Garba, I think, that's her name, she said they wrote a letter and they got the school built, right? Mixed feelings for me on the second comment. That gentleman towards the end who said, at least now, I know I can ask my local government chairman, I think, for what has been planned without, watch this, without being afraid. You know why we're here? Strengthening citizens' resistance. When people are afraid to ask for accountability, when they are scared to demand for transparency, invariably lack of accountability and transparency will breed corruption. Remember, like a great mind once said, secrecy is one of the drivers of corruption. And that's why no matter who you are, wherever you are, you're not too small in your little space to start speaking out. When you speak out, other people see you speaking out and standing upright for Nigeria, they will be encouraged. You don't have to be an activist in the streets. You don't have to be an opinion leader. You don't have to be in government. In your little space, like Mrs. Bassi said towards the end, if we teach our children and ask them, where did you get this? From when they're young, hopefully things will become better. It's my privilege and a joy to bring to the stage, on behalf or representing Mrs. Abafunke Fagbemi from CDD West Africa, I invite Mr. Shamsuddin for the presentation on electoral or elections and corruption. Please put your hands together for him.
Good morning. I'm sure I'm permitted to remove since I'm the only person here. Good morning, everyone. I'm sure this is more like a departure from the earlier presentations, because this has to do with figures and presenting data and so on and so forth. And I think, sorry, who's control? Sorry. So, as part of the SCRAP-C project, one of the key things that we identified, the Center for Democracy and Development, and together with the other consortium members, is a need for us to have an understanding of electoral corruption, because we know that the corruption we've been recording in the country, in a way, is a response to a lot of money that politicians have expended during the elections, and they find a way to recoup the expenses. And one of the ways they do that is some of the things that we talk about: weak institutions, failure for procurement, and then conversation we then extend to how can we build institutions to ensure that some of this problem is addressed. But without giving a lot of thinking around how can we tame it in the bud, for us to start conversation around some of the key factors that are responsible for that election in the first place. And for us to understand that, we need to understand the nature of electoral corruption in the country. And that's the reason, sorry, first slide. And we commissioned this study to understand the desire and implications of electoral corruption in Nigeria and to offer recommendations on how to move forward. And the broader objective is that the idea-based analysis, findings, and recommendation for political and electoral reform in this report will help to generate policy advocacy. And that is when we're thinking about the expected outcome from this engagement. Policy advocacy, actions and reform to diminish the unwholesome impact of electoral corruption in Nigeria, please. And I think before we move further, there's a need for us to do some kind of conceptual clarifications. And you know, electoral corruption is quite broad, and we try to reduce the scope of our definition by looking at these stipulatively in the report as a political and electoral behavior that violate the spirits and the letters of principles of electoral integrity. But more specifically, electoral corruption is defined as a range of behavior that can broadly classify as vote buying and the use of power of incumbency. So our understanding of electoral corruption within the context of this study is the issue of vote buying and the use of power of incumbency. Please, next slide. And let's talk a bit about the methodology. We collected information about we conducted a survey to gather people's perspective about corruption, looking at those two broad issues that I earlier mentioned about the vote buying and power of incumbency. And we also do a lot of DEX research. And one of the key things that we look at, the choice of the, sorry, this thing is not clear. Sorry, can you make it clearer? The choice of these, of public perception and the specific individual experience is some of the things that we are more interested in gathering. And mainly, we try to explain some of the concerns, looking at, not detailing and looking at specific cases of electoral corruption and giving examples. But we are majorly concerned about looking at the trend and conducting trend analysis and talking about people's perception about what it is. Yeah, what we did, for the survey, we conducted a study in 2 states in each geopolitical zone, but the subsequent analysis will give us analysis of 1 state in each political zone. What we did was to gather information from 300 respondents from Kano and Lagos because of its population. And what we used to justify this is the number of registered voters in these 2 states. And we also we engaged 200 respondents in the other states, including the Federal Capital Territory. They were selected to reflect diversity in gender, marital status, occupation, education, religion, age, geographic location, and appropriate party membership. And it should be noted that this survey made no difference between the party in power at the federal and at the state level in eliciting respondent perception. But also, we are more concerned about doing an analysis about what people think about the presidential election in 2019, as well as the governorship election in the respective states. So the analysis that we did is to do a comparative analysis of people's perception of those 2 elections. And then we conducted 3 focus group discussions, as well as do a lot of in-depth interview with key stakeholders in the state. Some of the key findings, when we look at any form, if voters or people respondents observe any form of inducement in the 2018 election, the majority of respondents that we gathered, 51.6% in the 6 states and the FCT, answered that they observed vote buying during the presidential election, while 32.2% did not observe it. And for governorship election, the majority of respondents as well, if you look at the presidential, also argued that the response was that the majority of them also observed vote buying during the governorship elections in the 6 states where we conducted the research. But it is noteworthy to show that out of these 6 states, Kano State, Enugu, Lagos, etc. Lagos State, the findings from Lagos State is totally different. Unlike those that majority said they observed vote buying, voters inducement, Lagos State was the only state where respondents did not reflect the general trend or the perception of vote buying. Rather, the election, they argued that majority of them responded, which is 30.6%, said they observed vote buying, whereas we have 59% of the respondents stating that they do not observe vote buying during while for the governorship, 31% and 60.5%. It means that from the data that we gathered in these states, Lagos State The findings from Lagos State is totally different when you talk about observing voters' inducement. Next. How will you rate the kind of, sorry, I think I will need my laptop. Sorry, can you open my laptop? So the next response, how will you rate the level of inducement in 2019 general election? Majority of voters, 57.4% of the respondents rated the level of inducement during the presidential election as high and very high, whereas we have 20.1% saying it's low. It means that going back to the first response, it further buttresses that to show that a lot of people observe. And similar trend repeats itself in the governorship election, where we have majority saying that they also observe high level of inducement during that election. If you have voted in 2015, how does the level of voter inducement in 2019 general elections compared with the 2015? Here, we try as much as possible to look at perception of people about the rate of inducement in the 2015, doing some kind of comparative analysis. The simple, not absolute majority, which is 39.6% of the respondents rated that the perception of vote buying is higher in 2015 compared to 2016, 22.7% and 18.6%. This shows a disturbing trend across the 6 states and the FCT of increased, albeit marginal, when it is compared with the combination of same level response, which is 28%, and lower response of 18.6%, totaling 41.3% during the presidential for the 2015 election, representing an absolute majority of the respondents. So people perceive that more voter inducement in 2015. In the governorship, a similar trend of perception of a simple majority of the respondents that the level of vote buying was higher than during the 2015 governorship election, but with a combined total of 47% of respondents. Still on vote buying, were you induced? This was a direct question to respondents to know if they are induced in any form to vote in the 2015 general election. Not what you observe anymore, but were you as a person induced? The majority of respondents, which 35.3 across the 6 states, experienced vote buying, minority rather, during the presidential election, and the rating contrasts sharply with the response of 51.6% for observation and 32.2% for non-observation of inducement during the presidential election. You know, the earlier point raised about the observation, 51.6%, and non-observation of 32.6%, but whereas when direct question was asked, a minority of them answered in affirmative that they were induced during the election. And the same trend and experience for respondents with vote buying during the presidential election is reflected in the answers of respondents to questions about the experience during the governorship election, where we have minority of 38.4% of the respondents talking about the fact that they were directly induced, which is still a sharp contrast to the earlier point about whether you observe of this. So the contrast may reflect the general perception of vote buying as a feature of elections in the country. So the point here is that if you are asked if you observe, you said yes, you observe. But when we asked if you actually, politicians induce you said no. Majority said yes, that they observed. Minority said yes, no, they were not directly induced. So it means that some of the perception is that there's a general trend of vote buying as a major characteristics of elections in the country, which may not reflect the actual experience of the respondents. And from the focus group discussion, I think the finding from the presidential election in the FCT point to a novel form of vote buying, smart card reader fraud. The excerpt from the FCT component of the report describe how the smart card reader fraud is carried out. Manipulation from one of our respondents in FCT, manipulation of card reader through preloading of votes for a preferred candidate, another type of vote buying. In this case, rather than buy directly from voters, a deal is struck between the candidate, his agent, and party representative with INEC officials who the only custodian of card reader. So there is a lot of perception about connivance between INEC officials and so let's go to the power of incumbency, which is another aspect of electoral corruption that we were interested in during this research. We asked whether people noticed security personnel collaborated with or aided agents of ruling party during the election. The majority of respondents says yes, 61.1% in the 6 states, that they did not observe that security personnel collaborated. And this negative response ranged from a high response of 77.5% in Lagos compared to 51.2% in. It means in all the states, most of them says no, they did not observe. For the governorship election, the majority of respondents across the state offered negative as well. So for both elections, for the 2 elections, a lot of respondents said no, they did not observe any level of connivance. And the next question about the feeling about INEC staff gave undue advantage to the ruling party. The majority of respondents in the 6 states and FCT says no to that. I feel INEC staff gave undue advantage to agents of the ruling party. The highest, that's the question, the highest negative response of 73.5% from Lagos to the lowest response of 43.8% in Enugu State. And the same trend for the governorship election. Government officials promoted the ruling party during the general elections actively. The majority of survey respondents across the 6 states and FCT answered negatively to the statement that government officials actively promoted. And the same thing for the governorship elections. So people have this perception that there's no connivance of the security agents, officials, INEC officials, and also the promotion of government officials. Massive deployment of state resources, the narrow majority of 49.2% across the 6 states rejected the claim that there was a massive deployment. So they still believe that there wasn't massive deployment of state resources. For the governorship election, the narrow majority of 48.8% of the survey respondents across concurred with the claim that there was, unlike the presidential, at the state governorship election, there was a majority of respondents agreed that there was deployment of state resources. I know reading all these figures, somehow boring, but we get to the conclusion. Also, the survey respondent perception of the nature of resources of state deployed include, for the power of incumbency, abuse of power of incumbency include security votes, service-wide votes, inflated contract, defense contract, and so on and so forth. Majority of focus group discussion participants and key informant interviews, as simplified below on the next slide, provided qualitative support for the survey data outlined below. And let me just read out the statement. In Imo State, several focus group discussion participants in Imo claimed that 100 Sienna vehicles were allegedly given to the police few weeks to the elections to facilitate easy manipulation. These are some of the people who agree that there's deployment. You will recall that less than 49% says no. But for those, for the minority who says yes to this, they also share their experience during the focus group discussion to say that there was massive deployment of state resources for such. And conclusively, the quantitative data from the respondent of the survey respondent, from response of the survey respondents, and quantitative data from the focus discussion and care makes clear that vote buying and abuse of power of incumbency of partisan electoral remains highly problematic for the conduct based on the guideline on the guiding principles of electoral integrity. On the perception of inducement, there was some difference between northern group. We try as much as possible to do a geographical analysis and compared to the southern. When we look at Bauchi, Kano Plateau, Akwa Ibom, Enugu, and Lagos, the majority of positive response from both groups, 44.1% for the north, 53.8% for the south, agree that there was vote buying during presidential elections.
force. And the annual parties we used to have in her residence at that time too. I want to thank the next, the person, the current SRO, for the great work. Chris has always been with us. It's like, tell me what, come back to us, let us know, and all of that. So I know you share in the pain of letting this project go. So can we have a round of applause for him? Andrew Claus has been very, very, you have been, top notch. Even on holidays, when I write a mail to Chris said, don't worry, he's on holiday, but he's reacting, and we get your responses and all that. The commitment to that as well. Yesterday, we had a big launch of the women-led integrated, action for protection against gender-based violence, because we're in 16 days of activism. We had the personal presence of the High Commissioner yesterday to launch that with ActionAid. So we started a new project, which we are going to run for the next 4 months. We hope that the relationship continues. I thought to welcome this young man, this gentleman, Obatokwe of ActionAid. I needed to stand up here and acknowledge all the great things, the tireless and indefatigable person, the very dynamic comrade of ours, the selfless sacrifice, the selfless one, the dynamite of ActionAid, the warlord of ActionAid, the warlord of ActionAid, an indefatigable comrade. Kudos to you. Well done to the service of your country. God bless
you. Thank you very much, NLB Country Director ActionAid. And also thank you very much, representative from FCDO. I'm becoming very emotional anyway. From experience, I think I should just share with us, going forward with the anti-corruption work in Nigeria, some of the things that we need to look into critically. And in doing so, I think we need the stakeholder approach. We want FCDO to also try as much as possible in designing program in Nigeria to carry as much as possible to carry our citizens along. So on that note, I think we need more citizens' input in program and project conceptualization so that there will be a robust ownership and localization of most of this program. And citizens will not see most of this program as a top-down thing or a strange thing to them. But if we are designing program and you put into consideration the contextual issues, how the people behave within the country, some of the social norms, characteristics, and features that have moved the people over time. If you consider all those, I think we will have an effective program that citizens can own and run with as much as possible. So it is my opinion that most of your programs, sir, and project conceptualization should be all inclusive so that there can be strong localization and ownership in the future. Secondly, also we understand, I've been in the anti-corruption space for a very long time now in Nigeria. I've worked within the supply space and also worked within the demand space. One thing I've come to realize is the anti-corruption fight is complex. And because it's complex, it will not require the same approach we might apply for other programs. For instance, I went to a workshop and they were going to tell us about social norms, using social norms to address corruption. I was surprised that the only examples that they could give was the man who smoked cigarette all the time and get his heart burned out. And if you are going to change that man's life, all you need to do is to show the photograph of his heart that is getting destroyed by the day. And the man might just decide to stop smoking. Another example is within the religious circle. If you want people to just follow you as a pastor, you just emphasize and make the hellfire fearful to them and tell them that if you continue to sin, you will go to hell. And it helps to also form decision of whether to go to hell or not. But within the anti-corruption space, what would you tell a man who has stolen so much and has reserved so much to even fight the state at that point in time? Are you going to tell him that the money he has stolen so much, which brings pleasure to him, is going to put him in jail? Of course, you know, the criminal system, justice system in Nigeria is also faulty, where cases are dragged for so many years, and the man who has stolen so much has enough resources to also fight the state to stand still. So the context of anti-corruption work, I will advise, should be with a long-term investment consideration or approach. That if you are investing in the anti-corruption work, you must wait for some time for things to take shape and change gradually. So what I mean to say is that investing in anti-corruption work must be a long-term investment or a return on investment. Lastly, 4 basic principles that experts have actually real out there. They said for you to have an effective anti-corruption work in any country, you must consider transparency strongly. You must consider citizen participation. And of course, you must consider accountability and integrity. Transparency in the sense that as we speak, the FOI is still in shambles in Nigeria, that people request for information, they don't get information. The question I'll ask most of the time is, I don't need to actually ask you for information. The law has provided that your information should be public. So I also think that going forward, we need to strengthen the work around the FOI in Nigeria. Participation can only be effective when the right information from government and data from government are made available to the public. If you don't have information, you cannot actually address so many issues. That is why citizens, most times, they don't address government with evidence-based advocacy. It's just this antagonistic way based on hearsay, on social media reports, and what have you. I think to have an effective participation, we must strengthen the work around transparency. And transparency, I mean, we must look at the work of FOI very critically. And of course, that brings me to the third one, which is accountability. It is only a government that has a good level of citizen participation that can be accountable to the citizen. So if we must have both vertical and horizontal accountability in Nigeria and in the work we do, our citizen participation in government must be strengthening. And lastly, I will leave you with this, that it matters a lot that our government needs to review the word integrity. The word integrity simply means if you are promising your citizens so many things, 5 things, do as much as possible to fulfill them. And if you cannot fulfill them at some point, you should also let them know some of the challenges you are having. That is accountability. And that takes me back to the economic recovery growth plan. I saw it, I think, 2 days ago. It's between 2017 and 2020, 3 years work plan. As we speak, the question is, where are we as a country with that plan? So it's not just enough to bring experts, bring development experts, if you like, to design this wonderful document and keep them in the shelf and begin to share it with people. There is need for us to keep to integrity. If you say you are doing anything for your citizens, you must stick by those things. I want to leave you with a very big thank you, partners. Though the program director is coming forward right now to give the final vote of thanks, but I am happy with the group of persons I work with across the 6 states. And if I have this opportunity again, I think my best selection will still be this group. Final note, I will say about Atokwe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Newton. That was concise. Please, a round of applause for him. It's not every day that you run into an outstanding team member like that, you know. Without a doubt, every single person involved with Upright for Nigeria project is outstanding in their own way. You know, it's just sometimes you see this outstanding, you know, to another level, and that's why that it had to be recognized in such a way. That's something all of us should aspire to. The media have been wonderful. You know, without the media, there's very little we achieved today. We are streaming live on YouTube, like I said earlier. And we have media houses here covering this event. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the media, of the press. We appreciate you. For this project, I mean, Action in Nigeria has been responsible for training over 320 journalists from both print and electronic media, and they provided capacity. They provided with capacity building on investigative and data journalism. And this comes close to home for me. I mean, not only do I have a background in agriculture, I used to be a journalist. Once a journalist, always a journalist. Broadcast journalism. So they're my people. So this gives me special joy to invite one of us from Premium Times. In fact, he is the deputy head of investigation from Premium Times. Please put your hands together as Mojeed Alabi comes. So as Mojeed Alabi comes to speak. Please show him some love. Show him some love. Mr. Nielsen just talked about Freedom of Information Bill. We know journalists do a lot to try and bring out information so we are all informed, and we'll do more of it. You're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you very much for bringing us here. To us on the media side, this is quite unfortunate that a project as impactful as CRAP-C will be rounded off. And what do I mean? I can say, not only as an investigative journalist, but as a member of Journalists Against Poverty, there has been no program that has impacted meaningful journalism in Nigeria as CRAP-C. In terms of empowerment, in terms of endowment, there has been no program. And not just because it is the program, but because the managers of the program have worked so well to work with the ideal individuals who will be able to at least write significantly on major challenges confronting Nigeria. So we are sad today that this project is going. But as the project is going, I think we are left with the hope that initiatives, lessons, innovations we have learned from this program will continue to be with us. I know up till date, whether at the level of EFCC or ICPC, they know how many projects that journalists have run after, they have reported, they have exposed, that they are also now pursuing because we received so much support from CRAP-C. And we thank you so much to all the partners who gave this initiative. This is the only way to go. We must work together as a team. And we thank you, the civil societies, Action Aid in particular, and our home mommy in the house, NLB. He can get across to you, even in the middle of the night. She just wants you to be there and pursue justice. Thank you very much. We hope that again and again, we'll have more opportunities like this to serve our fatherland and put those people who are usurping what does not belong to them, to put them on their toes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And to Mr. Newton, we will never forget you. You will always be with us. Thank you very much. Together we are forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mojeed. Like I said, this room is full of a lot of people with passion, you know, we can't thank you enough. I'm sure, you know, FCDO understands why people are emotional and passionate. When you see a program that has succeeded as much as this and has impacted lives across different parts of the country and different phases of life, you can't but be, you know, grateful for an opportunity to be part of that team. So we are not going to hide our our joy by sound department. Let's be guided. Apologies, I think it was the battery that was a bit low. So we are not going to hide that, you know, emotion that we have. And we're going to make sure. Let me drop my voice more. Ma, should I off the mic? I should not off it. We say no more offing of mic. Quote me anywhere. Are we still streaming? They're watching me. Quote me anywhere. Anybody who's not ready to embrace honesty, integrity, transparency, and accountability should never have any place opportunity in leadership or governance. End of story. Can the eyes have it? Please now. If you're not ready to be transparent, to be accountable, to be honest, and have integrity, what are you doing in leadership? Go and sit down and let somebody that can do it too. Enough of all this struggling to get information. We will beg you, struggle to get this, beg you every time. Nobody begs you to collect your salary and do what you're supposed to do. Do your job, do it well. That's all we're asking. We want a better country that is devoid of corruption. Or at least that has a corruption index that is much reduced than we have right now. And thank God ICPC is represented here, EFCC is represented here, and it's beautiful. We do a lot of work with them to make sure that we all succeed. That's what we're all about. This vote of thanks is not the official vote of thanks. So there's somebody that is prepared to give you the official vote of thanks and thank FCDO for taking a short break. You get why? So with the fight against corruption is not ending. But it's my pleasure to welcome the program director of Action Aid Nigeria to give us the vote of thanks. Please put your hands together for Mrs. Tasala Chibok. Show us some love, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have been amazing. You've stuck with us from the very beginning of the program to the very end. This is our grand vote of thanks to you. You're welcome, ma'am.
Wow. Thank you very much. It was just like yesterday that this journey began in Command Guest House. Members of the consortium for this project met and spent days and nights writing this proposal. And we received the news with so much joy that we won the bid. But like they say, like the saying goes, anything that has a beginning has a what? Has an end. Though the end might not be what you planned, but it might be better than what you planned. So today we are here at the end of Scrap C, but not at the end of the fight against corruption. May I please at this point invite the faces of Scrap C. May I invite the staff? We've seen members of the consortium here, they were represented. Center for Communication and Social Impact, CCSI, was represented. They made a presentation. CDD was also represented. But we had partners, implementing partners at the state levels. May I please ask their representatives to come here together? Let's see the faces. Our partners, our staff in Action Aid that made this happen, please come forward. I just think it's an act of corruption not to show the face.
Maybe even those who work in the project and left the organization.
Please come forward, come forward. If you have at one point or the other worked on this project, please come forward. You may be with your organization, you might have left. Please come forward. We are a formidable force. Elisa, thank you. Come forward, though. If I live here, I'm heading to Sambisa. So if you are not here, all of us seated that are supposed to be here, we'll just move from here to Chibok and to Sambisa.
Photographers, please be on standby to take some official photographs.
Please come. Now I know the fear of Sambisa is the beginning of wisdom. To be able to pull Andrew, that's the fear of Sambisa. Okay, I've not seen Adewale. Okay. So, that's the finance person. Oh, another person that doesn't want to pay ransom is coming up. Our partner staff.
Your percentage.
Please come and join us. Please come and join us. This is a great moment for us. Those of you on 10%, 5% salary on this project, please show up. Okay, we are all here. I think I'm on, and what's my percentage? 10%? Okay, I'm on 10%. So, these are my colleagues.
ICPC is here, and they are not here. We work with you. There is a lot of money we poured in.
Yeah, with this team of ICPC, I think we are complete. But there's someone who is missing, not because she wants to be away from here, but because she's on maternity leave. And that's our staff, Janet. Janet worked so hard on this project. She would have loved to be here. But I also think it's corruption for the child to abandon a few days' child just to be here. But I'm sure her spirit is with us, and she assured me she will watch online. So Janet, thank you for all the sacrifice. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for adding one more life to this world. We are grateful. My colleagues, we appreciate all of you. It wouldn't have been possible without you. This is our day, all of us, not just for ActionAid. And this is to especially thank you for all your commitment, for all the sacrifice, for all the efforts. Some of us traveled days and nights, sleep in the hotels, squat somewhere else, just to ensure this work happened. We are glad that we've partnered with you to deliver on this, and we'll say thank you. So my job is easy, just to thank you, to thank the partners, and thank you all for coming to celebrate with us, because this is celebration really. We've raised awareness in this country, and it will continue to be as people demand accountability. Thank you all. Safe trip. It's nothing. Okay, you don't?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for today. We appreciate you. Thank you for being part of this special program on strengthening citizens' resistance against the prevalence of corruption, Scrap C. Like we said, it's just a little pause in the program. We know FCDO are not going too far. Thank you all for your contribution. The press conference is going to take place right now. But meanwhile, if you are not part of the press conference, please hold on. Lunch is about to be served. Let's still observe social distancing. Wear your mask until food is about to enter your mouth, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, and thank you. Ew. All right, ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention for just one more second? I have just been reliably informed. Mr. DJ, can you off the mic a little bit? 1 second. Just reduce the volume. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been reliably informed that you all are cordially, freely, passionately invited to tonight's party taking place right here at this venue in this hall. Dress code informal. 7 p.m. tonight, you are cordially invited to the party happening right here. Thank you very much. Put on your dancing shoes when you're coming, and we'll see you guys in the evening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, may I have the attention of Action Aid Nigeria's country director, Mrs. Ene Obi, on the press conference panel. May I also have the attention of Mr. Newton Otemaye from Action Aid on the panel for the press conference. May I also have the attention of Mr. Shamsuddin Yusuf from CCSI on the panel for the press conference. And may I have the attention of Atinuke Uchiduno from CCSI also on the panel for the press conference. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, please come close and let the press conference begin in earnest, while the rest of us just lose guard and go and have lunch. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, please proceed to the panel for the press conference. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, if you are outside, please come in, set up your cameras, your microphones. The press conference is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, please proceed to the press conference. It's about to start. Can I also have the attention of Mr. Newton Otemaye, Mr. Shamsuddin, and Ms. Atinuke? The press conference is about to start.
Hello? Okay. No, sit.
No, sit.
Stay. Just stay.
You know, media, they normally want to do this executive. So first is...
Sit there. You won't run today.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, in the last 3 years and 9 months, as part of the implementation of strengthening citizens' resistance against the prevalence of corruption, Scrap C project, Nigerians have been encouraged to embrace the values of honesty, integrity, transparency, and as a way of reducing the burden of corruption on Nigeria and its citizens. We are a consortium of 3 national non-governmental organizations: ActionAid Nigeria, Center for Communication and Social Impact, CCSI, Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, who worked with a large pool of implementing partners across the project states of Kano, extending it to Jigawa, Kaduna, Lagos, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, and Borno and Abuja for national engagement. The project sought to increase citizens' capacity to resist, discourage, and report the acts of corruption that had made access to a better and improved quality of life difficult to attain for the ordinary citizen. Change to corruption that has negatively impacted on infrastructure, health, and the economy in Nigeria. We got funding from the UK government through the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office to achieve what we have today. We deploy an articulate communication strategy in influencing the social norms and attitude that help corruption flourish in Nigeria with a view to effect a social change. The campaign leverage on social capital and social networks to promote a corruption-averse mentality in 7 states, including Kano, Borno, Lagos, Akwa Ibom, Enugu, and the FCT. For Nigeria to overcome the infrastructural decay and pause social economic development from the community to national level, citizens must refuse to take bribe and offer or receive gratification before carrying out services. If every citizen speaks out against corrupt practices, the level of crime in the country will diminish. Cost of living will reduce, unemployment rates will drop, and security of lives and property will improve if every citizen, regardless of social political class or religious class and status, stand upright for Nigeria in their own spaces of authority, be it at home, public and private offices, on the street. Within the implementation period, 6 community anti-corruption working groups were inaugurated across the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory to change citizens' perception towards legitimizing corruption. Through our constant citizens' engagement on anti-corruption crusade in Kaduna, the National Assembly reinserted a previously neglected constituency project worth 40 million for the construction of primary health care that is into the 2018 budget, and the project has now been completed. The project, in collaboration with ICPC, tracked 2,045 projects, both executive and constituency, in 28 states in Nigeria between October 2019 and July 2020. This intervention has moved 93 contractors and 259 legislators back to the project site. 261 cases were recommended for investigation, while 40 cases were recommended for the recovery of public loot.
We are so proud of the Nigerian media for the resourceful support that the campaign enjoyed within the period of implementation across the country. We are proud of the changes in citizens' attitude to corruption. For example, in Borno and Kano states, citizens now have the knowledge of how to report corruption cases to ICPC, EFCC, and some state anti-graft agencies. I can tell you categorically that now it does not matter who is involved in the corrupt practice because people can use the anonymous feature on the mobile app to report or send a mail or call on the radio program to report. In Borno, people of Bulabulin reported their community leader to the EFCC for alleged diversion of their resettlement fund. In Kano, the Upright for Nigeria radio program provided a platform for people to report corrupt practices. We are happy that the barriers have been shifted and citizens now have some amount of confidence in the system. This is because some reported cases were effectively treated to conclusion. Thanks to our efficient relationship with the ICPC, EFCC, and state anti-corruption agencies, like the one in Kano. If we all continue to uphold the HIT values, HIT being an acronym for honesty, integrity, and trust, everyone can have access to quality education, improved health services, and access to other basic amenities. We urge citizens not to give up, even as this project is closing today. We have moved beyond the level of hopelessness and helplessness. Now we know what to do, which is to resist, discourage, and report acts of corruption to appropriate authorities.
Yeah, thank you so much. The country director of Action Aid and the representative of Thank you so much, the country director of Action Aid, our mother, the representative of CCSI, country director. And just to talk a bit about our position today, as the common saying goes, corruption has permeated all facets of life. But one of the key impressions that this project gives us is that people are all out there to fight against corruption. When they have requisite skills and knowledge to do that, we should continue to nurse nurse these understanding that people are not ready. People are really ready. And this is evident in some of the engagement that we've had with implementing partners at the state level where we work. More than 300 children between the age of 6 and 12 now have access to nursery and primary education in Alimosho local government as a result of the increased youth and other stakeholders' engagement around social audit. And one remarkable thing about the SCRAPC intervention at the state level is that through social audit intervention, the State Universal Basic Education Board chairman return a contractor back to the site to complete a story building of 100 classrooms at the Ralph Aregbesola Nursery and Primary School, Shosha Community in Alumasho Local Government, Council area of Lagos State. This project had been abandoned by the contractors for over 2 years since it was awarded. Our social audit interventions and engagement led to an increase in citizens reporting corruption cases to relevant government agencies, including the Police Public Complaint Response Unit, and also has helped to encourage grassroots gatekeeping against corrupt practices in various areas in Nigeria, and with successes, other communities are requested for the replication of the interventions. So the point is that citizens are ready when they have the requisite knowledge to respond to the cases of corruption. And it is important, as this project is being conceived, to adopt a bottom-top approach in the fighting against corruption, but not to dwell so much on just strengthening institutions, but to empower citizens and have the empowered citizens to respond and demand accountability from government. Thank you.
Sure. Exactly. I would rather. So the media doesn't crucify us. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Lunch is served. So please kindly proceed to have lunch. Lunch is free. Lunch is served right here. Please proceed to have lunch. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please proceed to the dining side of this left side of the stage for the lunch. Kindly inform those outside that it's time for item number 7, menu, menu, menu. It's lunchtime, ladies and gentlemen. Shall we all come forward? Time for lunch, ladies and gentlemen.
The land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green. Can't you see? I can see all the harvest is ready, 'cause he told me so. It's green and it's all mine. Clouds got gray. On the rose and birds sing. Season's just beginning. Sunlight hides the clouds make. You'll see the flood in 3 of you.
Okay, I did. Thank you. Thank you.
Moving back to home, the land is green, it's green. Oh, oh. The land is green, it's green. Can't you see the harvest is ready?